Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon, where seconds before we went live, the crew stopped being rowdy, like instantly, like that. So,
Oh, just
How do
like
you
that.
know we're done?
no, I know you're not, is the thing. Anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. I would like to get tonight's game started by first and foremost saying Happy Pride, everybody.
Yeah,
Uh,
happy Pride.
yeah.
Easily mistaken for the Purge.
Yes. I mean, like nobody here did that, but you know,
Nobody here
No,
did
of
that.
course.
but
No.
I
but
have
you,
an alibi.
yeah,
Anyway.
right, yeah. Um, and yes, as John Numa said, space is gay. Thank you,
This
John.
is gay.
Yes.
True.
So, welcome first of all, everybody. I think we have some announcements, probably. I'm just gonna start talking and see what comes out. We'll see what happens. So this Friday on Ramblemancy, we will be joined by Akemi or Ninja Penguin to talk about engaging with TTRPGs, a topic that we've had before, but not with Akemi. So I'm very excited. Been trying to have them on for a while, and yeah, I'm really excited to talk about some TTRPGs. Um, this Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific time marks the beginning of my Mass Effect Legendary Edition playthrough. Uh,
Wait, what time?
at 6 Pacific, I think.
Cool.
I think I say that as if like I don't have the authority to change that at any moment, but like it's purely up to me when we start. But yeah, I think it's gonna be at 6. So
Very exciting.
this time on Saturday. Um so yeah, that'll be fun. You'll be able to come and hang out with me in space in a different way than you usually do. So that'll
Get
be
that
starting.
fun character creation.
I might do that ahead of time. I don't know. I'm sure people would enjoy watching me build a character like on stream, but I would feel anxious doing it. So I might do it off stream and then just start from the beginning of the game. We'll see what I remember to do. So I think that's really all I've got for announcements. Um Other than just like I'm a little bit behind on Into Deep VODs going on YouTube. I think there's just one that's left, but it will be up this week, so at the usual time. So, and of course, speaking of Into Deep, next week on Tuesday, Into Deep will have their first guest, Jude or Mermaid Royal. I'm so excited to see what they do. It's gonna be so fun.
I'm so happy. I love it. I love my friends being friends with everyone else. It's just great.
I
It
like
makes me feel
when
very
I
happy.
have friends and then I have other friends and then they are each other's friends. It's excellent.
Right? It's
They
just
seem
great.
super cool.
Yeah. So
They're
yeah.
I
really
think they
sweet.
were just interviewed for something for their
Yeah, they wanted
stream,
Twitch,
so
Twitch Pride. They had an interview. Yeah, it was really cool.
can
Yeah.
check that out.
That's awesome. I don't have any other Rule of Lore announcements. Anybody else have other announcements?
Power Play is coming back this Sunday for not a game, but a Q&A, which we
Ooh.
haven't done one of those yet. So all of your burning questions, you can go into the Q Times Discord in the Power Play channel. You can leave your questions, or I think they have like one or two posts up just on Twitter that you can reply to. And I think we might eventually be taking questions like in chat during the stream too. But I'm very excited to be on stream with all of them again, as opposed to just having to watch them separately for weeks. But that'll be very fun. I'm excited, and like I said, I think I've said it before, but we always like debrief after our streams, and so I'm excited to kind of like give y'all a peek behind the curtain. So
Ooh.
come hang out with us. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, go
The
for
only
it.
thing only two things I'm gonna announce is, well, not announce. One of them is an announcement. One of them is just a reminder. The reminder on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm over on Table Story in a mini series called a mini series of Clockwork Dominion campaign called Midsummer Mysteries, and it's getting really good. Like, I'm really upset that it's a mini series. It's gonna end soon. I'm so upset about it because it's been so much fun. But if you wanna see my slightly unhinged technically immortal, half angel, half demon, half human, inventor. You can catch me there at 2 p.m. Eastern. Also, we announced it recently. I think it was yesterday actually we announced it. Friends Roll Dice and Resonum are going to be teaming up for a charity event on the 12th of June. 12th? Yes, 12th of June. We're going to be doing a bunch of board games and then a TTRPG, all made by people of color, and we're going to be raising money for I Need Diverse Games. So I cannot remember the exact times of everything that's happening. I think it's like from 3 p.m. Eastern to about 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing a relay where we play board games on Resonum, and then they come over to play some TTRPG on French Roll Dice. So I'm going to be raising money for I Need Diverse Games. So you can follow us on Twitter at Friends Roll Dice, or follow Resonum on Twitter at Resonum. That's RESONYM, and they'll have their it's a weird name, and they'll have their announcement tweet there, so you can check the times. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very excited. We actually have Jude on one of the games as well, which is
That's
very,
awesome.
This is gonna be great. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Heck yeah. Anybody else have stuff they want to announce?
Buy Olivia's
Follow me
book.
on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Follow me on Twitter.
Bye.
Follow me on Twitter, bye, Elizabeth.
Buy my book. It's I'll retweet it soon, so you can find it there. I don't have the link ready. So
Fair
it's
enough.
short. It's like 15 pages, good poems, and it's all PDFs, so it's super easy to read from anywhere.
Awesome. All right. And of course, follow Remy on Twitter.
Or else.
Or else. That was a threat.
Oh boy.
Oh, God.
It was an implied threat. Okay. Anyway, we should start the show. How's that? Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
And thank you,
Okay.
John
I don't
Numa,
mind.
for putting that link in the chat. Thank
oh,
you.
yeah. Thanks, John. All right. Well, let's get into tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. Hi, everybody. We are back. Welcome back. I thought everybody was distracting me before everything happened, so I'm gonna blame everybody else for me not being prepared. And since they're not on camera right now, you can't see any of their like angry faces about that. So previously on Infinite Horizon, the crew found themselves with a little downtime while the Bellerophon traveled to Hayes' first lead on the expedition. Teon and Peach revisited their concerns about Dr. Amrin, and while they agreed that selectively wiping her memory would be the best way to move forward, they were uncertain how to bring it to the others. While Bina was meeting some of the Kamathi engineering crew, Teon headed to the armory where he met Axel Galt, the head of Calwyn Hayes' personal security. Teon hoped to find a kindred spirit in another trained warrior aboard the ship, but was instead unnerved by Galt's thirst for violence. When the ship arrived at mining station HP-157, the crew took a shuttle aboard and began their investigation, accompanied by Galt and a small security team. Within minutes of docking, the vacant behavior of the miners made it clear that something was wrong. At every turn, it seemed as though the station's residents were attempting to stall any efforts to explore the mining operations. Excuse me. While the others waited for a high prime representative to show them around, Teon and Bina snuck into some nearby geology labs, occupied by more vacant station personnel. There, they found a set of nearly year-old logs detailing the discovery of an anomalous object in the mines. The station personnel recounted a sickness that spread rapidly among the miners not long after, and the logs cut out after a final ominous statement, "They're inside." Meanwhile, the rest of the crew were taken on a tour of the station's lower levels by a High Prime representative. The rep took them to a lab and showed them an anomalous object the miners had discovered just over a year ago. The crew immediately recognized the object as an artifact. The artifact reached out to Peach, attempting to draw her in, but when Peach resisted, a multitude of voices speaking as one resonated in her mind, urging her to leave well enough alone for her own good. Peach used her powers, momentarily containing the artifact, but causing the miners to rush the crew, desperate to free it. Forced to make a run for it, the crew grabbed the artifact and made their stand at the lift. Backup arrived just in time in the form of Bina, Taeon, and security personnel from the Bellerophon, who quickly contained the situation. Back aboard the ship, Hayes saw to containing the artifact, while his people recovered data from the station's computers. With the help of Abriel and Hayes' engineers, the artifact contained in the vault was secure for now. So, that's where we left off. I think... excuse me. I don't know what is happening, but I can... Let me just drink some water real fast. Everybody hydrate.
Good idea.
There it is. Thank you. So, I'm gonna start off tonight with CT. Just ask you a quick question, Remy. What is a sort of semi-public place that CT would be at this particular time?
It depends on the time of day, because probably where people get food is the place that people congregate the most, but specifically more so at certain times of the day.
So, would you be there so as to avoid people, or when there were the most people?
When there are the most people, but it's not really eating, just hanging out.
Sure.
Off to the side.
All right. So yeah, just kind of standing off to the side near kind of an entryway to the mess hall, kind of standing there watching people as they come and go, setting up at tables and eating food. Mostly at this particular time, it's a lot of the research team. Although there are a couple security personnel in there as well as you notice that there are also a couple of engineers in there. But primarily it's the researchers at this time. As you're kind of standing there observing as people set up for their meal, you hear kind of the door to the mess hall open, and before you can turn to look to see who has entered, you feel something metallic against the side of your ribs. You hear a voice, a woman's voice next to you, just say, "We're just pretend like nothing's happening and follow me."
All right, and I shall follow you.
And as you kind of turn to exit the room, you recognize Abriel, the Awakener's doctor, as she just sort of jerks her head, indicating that you should move.
Yeah, I'll follow her.
Yeah, she follows close behind you. You can still feel the weapon kind of pressed against your back as you walk down the corridors. Eventually, she just says stop, and she turns to a doorway nearby, opens it, and looks inside, and just sort of indicates that you should go in. And as you go in, you recognize one of the research labs that is currently unoccupied, with most of the personnel in here in the mess hall. As soon as the door closes behind both of you, you can feel the
Sorry, there's
okay.
my windows open.
That's
but
okay.
there's
It was just very startling.
Space birds. Birds in space.
Yeah.
Is that the sound that
Space.
cloud bells make?
Yeah, that's just cloud bells. God damn it, they got on here. No. You
Space Twitter.
Oh,
you feel the like she kind of moves around in front of you and just sort of moves the weapon up, like you moves the pistol up, kind of keeping it sort of semi level, like basically up to chest height at this point. And she looks at you, says, "Okay, I'm gonna make this really quick and really simple. That thing that got brought aboard is dangerous. It cannot be in the possession of this Hayes guy, and something needs to be done about that. I need to know right now if we can trust you."
Forgive me for saying, but I believe that you almost had me concerned that your worries were much grander than just a simple object brought aboard, and my level of trust.
That's not an answer to my question.
My answer is that I am here to serve the. My front is to serve the needs of Mr. Calvin Hayes. However, my objectives lie elsewhere that the crew of the Awakener has already aligned themselves with.
I just need to make sure. I just need to make sure that I don't know to what extent your additional objectives will carry you.
I do not intend to harm anyone aboard this ship or cause unnecessary distress. In fact, I also would like to know the full extent of the dangers presented by the object brought on board, and if any can be avoided, I shall do my due diligence in order to do so.
Okay, fine. And she lowers the sidearm. Says, it's important, and I've seen firsthand the kind of destruction that something like that can do if nobody's paying attention, or if it gets into the hands of people who want to understand it without really trying to understand it.
I would like to understand it as far as your information will go, if I am able to ask such a question.
I will do my best. And she sort of straightens up, kind of like looks down at her at the sidearm in her hand, and then looks back at you. Says, "Not sure how much I can. I guess all I have is your word right now."
I am unarmed. You could shoot me right now and it would not change the current situation. I simply wish to assist in any means if it means the safety of everyone aboard this vessel.
She frowns at you and just says, "It's just a stun pistol. I'm a doctor, not an assassin." She like holsters it. Um and she says, "Fine. Let's I just needed to make sure. My job as this crew's doctor is to keep them safe, even if that means it's from themselves sometimes. They have a tendency to trust too readily."
I think you should have greater faith in the people that you call your crew.
I have faith in them. It's you I'm not so sure about.
That is quite fair.
Anyway, let's go. I'm sure they'll want to talk about this with you too.
All right.
And she leads you back to to Awakener's crew's quarters. So, y'all, as you're kind of spending some of your free time waiting for waiting for Hayes's his data analysts to comb through the data that they recovered from the station. you eventually, like after a little while, you hear the door open to the quarters, and Abriel and CT walk in. And as they step inside, the door closes behind them. Abriel turns and looks to everybody and says, "Everybody, we need to have a conversation."
I'd love to have a conversation with you, Abriel.
She unholsters the stun pistol and hands it to you, Mason, and says, "Thanks."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
We all exchange glances. Everyone who's not, well, Pooch exchanged glances. I don't know if everybody else is.
Taeyeon does as well. It's like, whoa, okay.
Abriel looks around and just says, "All right, listen. So, we all know who this Hayes guy is. And we all agree that he's not really a suitable guardian for an artifact."
Yeah, no, it's very clear. I don't think there's anyone who is, but he especially isn't.
Yeah, he's the sort who will try to find some use of it. He clearly
Probably lose his mind in the process.
Exactly. He clearly believes that he's above, that most rules don't apply to him, but the rules of the universe, the rules of science, don't make exceptions for anyone.
May I know the capabilities and dangers associated with fraternizing with such an object?
Well, you know, all of everyone we kind of saw at the mining facility?
Yes.
That and worse.
It seems to target people's minds. And bodies, but can do some gnarly stuff.
Interesting.
Abriel looks at you and just says, You were on Sulon for a little while, right?
Indeed, I was.
You probably heard about what happened there a few months back?
Yes, and you were all involved in such an effort.
Yeah, well, so were the products of artifacts coming into contact with people. The cleanup efforts that happened afterwards on Sulon, it was to collect the bodies of all of those who had been, well, we call them warped.
Interesting.
But furthermore, these artifacts are tied in some way to the abilities that yourself and the crew have. Well, I don't know about you. I don't know how you got. That's not important. They just, at least this crew, the artifacts are in some way tied to that.
And it seems like they work differently, because the one that we have now, it made people behave differently than the one that we have under containment.
And so the only method of dealing with such objects is to simply contain them at the moment, it seems.
I mean, if we could figure out a way to destroy them, that would be ideal, but we haven't found anything yet.
They have stood up to standard destruction methods.
In fairness, I'm not entirely sure any of us have tried, but
I'm no scientist, but I do think something with this kind of power, we probably want to make sure destroying it doesn't make anything worse.
And it has built-in defense mechanisms. If you get near it, it starts to kind of mess with your head.
I mean, whatever power it contains, it has to go somewhere. Right? If you were gonna wreck it, you'd think that I'd be worried that something bad would happen.
And while we were down there, I interacted with the artifact to kind of contain it, and the voice that spoke through that was way more powerful than anything I have ever ever come into contact with. Like, I tried to reach out and I was swatted away like a fly.
Yeah, no, we can't let Hayes walk away with this.
No, it seems that it would be a poor move to leave it within his clutches.
Vix sort of sits forward and just says, "Okay, I've actually been thinking about this. Look, I respect that we have a sort of some kind of important mission here that we need to do, but things have changed with that artifact coming into play. I think if it's possible, if we want to accomplish both things, we got to move up our timetable." And I was thinking about this, and I realized there's right now all of Hayes' leads are dependent on one thing, and that's the data that we just recovered from the station. We get rid of that.
I don't see why we can't do that.
He has no
Yeah.
leads.
Get in there and corrupt it?
That's what makes sense to me.
I don't believe that that would be the only information source that he is working off of. And therefore, his path would be unimpeded should he fall back on other methods.
I've been thinking about that too. You said that he got some of his information from a captured Voxora?
That is what I believe, yes.
Then it wouldn't make sense for him to leave that information source somewhere else. That captured Voxora has to be on this ship somewhere.
On the ship?
I was under the same impression that that was very possible.
I mean, we can search the ship, if that's why you're here.
I have an idea about such a venture, though, Miss Peach, that might require some effort on your side. However, you will not need to exert yourself in any method, but we will need to have that conversation Mr. Hayes requested of you.
I would love to talk to Mr. Hayes.
Could that aid us here if you give him some false information about the artifacts?
False information, or I don't know, if he doesn't seem like the type to scare easy, but I don't know if we can convince him it's more trouble than it's worth, or maybe, I mean, blackmail did cross my mind. We could have Revorsa look into some things about him.
My initial idea is that Mr. Hayes is very far from home, and so the risks presented to his own self are greatly magnified. And a very exploitable move is to put Mr. Galt or any other higher up individuals in a line of suspicion. And now with this artifact, we have some
Leverage.
That's a different show. Sorry. What if... Is there any way we could stage a containment breach? We have some weird... I mean, between all of us, we've got some fun, freaky abilities.
Convince him that we are the only ones that know how to contain it?
That he wants it off this ship if he wants to continue with his mission.
I mean, I could tell him that it's really tricky to contain it, maybe when we talk.
Plant the
seeds.
And, yeah. Give him some false, looks into what... Because the only thing that he and his men have seen are what we saw down at the mining base. If we could take that and make it I don't know, something to do with what they saw, and maybe lay seeds of it somehow starting on this ship?
Hmm.
Some sort of, I don't know, smoke and mirrors?
A dream.
A dream?
I mean, I could make illusions or modify dreams or memories, but I don't know if that would convince them on a larger scale. But do we have
I mean, he's the one in charge. He's the one that we'd have to scare.
It
Hmm.
agreed, and it does not have to be something so drastic. Just
Yeah.
anything to
Paranoid.
start to sow the seeds of doubt in
Make
his
him-
mind.
Make him paranoid.
and how did exactly the sickness start with the artifact in the data station we were just at?
We can give some. We'll give a rundown on what we heard about.
Yeah, I mean
Because they'll have access to that. Theoretically, they took everything. And if they
Yeah.
can see those, you can double down
What
on
was
how-
it? Was like headache. Could you list those
yeah,
again
it was
for me? I
basically
forget.
like headaches, vertigo, like were the sort of the earlier signs, and then later on was people starting to kind of hear voices in their heads, and then not too long after that, then they started feeling sort of lethargic, and then that was kind of like the final stage, basically.
My only concern would be the presentation of a solution to the problem. Should you convince that Mr. Hayes that this is something not worth dealing with, what do you propose otherwise in order to contain or deal with this artifact otherwise?
You would have to convince him he wants it off his ship. That he doesn't want anything to do with it. And then maybe someone can take it back to base.
Can at least convince them that I have the ability to make it disappear. I
Yeah.
can try exiling it, and just then he wouldn't know that it's still on the ship, and then we can store it or hide it somewhere, or I can find a way to get it back to HQ.
Alma speaks up at this point and says, look, this sounds like the beginnings of a solid plan, but keep in mind, this Galt character, I mean, if Hayes is paranoid, what is he gonna... If he's scared, what is he going to allow Galt to do? There are innocent people on the ship who have nothing to do with any of this.
That was the other side of my idea, was to plant the doubt of Galt in Mr. Hayes's mind. Mr. Galt has exhibited qualities that I do not believe are good for preserving the life aboard every individual on this ship. And if Miss Peach will testify to this fact and other information that I may provide, he may be willing to listen to that.
I mean, Galt is basically a mercenary, right? I mean, if we could convince, if he suspected that someone was paying him more.
That would be impossible.
But I don't know who could really outbid Colin Hayes.
Maybe not. Maybe we don't focus in on someone that is paying him concurrently, but something more of worth in the end game. Perhaps it is that the cash out for this venture is much grander than what Mr. Hayes could even provide. And given the opportunity that we are out in the corners of space where no one could hear Mr. Hayes cry for help, that the an individual with such a strength could easily overpower him.
Convince him that Galt will take it for his own.
Yes.
Wow. CT, I like the way you think.
Thank you. I have worked at this quite a while.
Write down in my notes, we're gonna gaslight the boss.
Gonna gaslight the girl boss.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. That's the plan.
Go. Just making a note.
Abriel just sort of frowns, says, I got to look at the inside of the vault when I was helping to install containment. And I mean, I'm no engineer, but there are some serious security measures in that vault. Even if this, we need some kind of backup plan just in case all of this, doesn't.
Swipe and run.
Yeah.
I would prefer this is like maybe plan F. That'd be nice, but I have been practicing my teleportation, and I may be able to get a decent distance away to the nearest planet. At the very least, I don't know how far. That will probably put me out of commission for a while. So
I am not sure that'll be. I mean, as a getting it off the ship plan, sure. But as for how to get to it, I'm not convinced that. I mean, I saw some of the security measures in there. There are some radioactive field projectors in there that are, like, while I don't know exactly how your teleportation works, mechanically speaking, radiation fields like that I have a high likelihood of messing with that. I would be afraid for your safety if you tried to teleport in. We might need to have to find a backup plan to get us in there. Preferably something mechanical.
A way to disable the defenses.
mm-hmm. Who else works with you on building?
She kind of thinks for a moment and says, I mean, let's see, I had one of the other researchers helping me with calculations, but they're no more an engineer than I am. And then some of the engineering crew, I think, were in there.
The other chemos?
At least two of them were, yeah. Maybe three. I'm not sure exactly. They kept their environment suits on the whole time, so hard to tell exactly. But
I'd probably ask to see if any of them would be willing to let us in, even if it is just to check, or if they are able to sympathize with what we're trying to do here. They might just let us in and outright help us.
You are qualified as specialists aboard this ship. You could pull that at the very least.
Yeah.
Alma leans forward and says, it might also be worth it if we're considering a plan B. It might also be worthwhile to... I mean, I didn't speak to her much, but I did have a few words with the ship's captain, and she seems like the sort who, if she thought there was any sort of threat to the people aboard this ship, she might be convinced to see our side of things.
We need to get as many people afraid of this thing as possible.
From my assessment of the Bellerophon, it is that this vessel is extremely mechanically sound, and the way to undermine any kind of activities that are going forth or going on is through the people. And so I would agree with the assessment to try to target the captain in any way possible.
anyone who has any sway, any say on the ship, we want them to want it off. That'll get. It might not do the trick, but it'll. If we can get any leg up on this.
Maybe we can target the captain, Galt, and Hayes. I feel like Hayes is probably more the one to care if it's directly affecting him. So maybe we can make him think he is being targeted by this artifact. That would, I'm sure, would make him want to get off the ship. And using that fear that he most likely will voice, that would that'd probably make the captain interested in the idea of getting off the ship as well. Plus the added paranoia of suspecting Galt, to be honest, because he has all the reasons to suspect Galt anyway. That might be enough to push them, the captain and Hayes, over the edge and agree to have us take it off the ship.
I mean, in some things we could, exaggerate as the symptoms. I mean, if they don't know that, nightmares have, it could be for all they know.
I have a small query about the artifact itself to move backwards in the conversation a bit. You talk as though you have dealt with such an object before. Was it recovered in similar circumstances, a mining operation just out in the middle of nowhere?
Well, ours was recovered via heist, right? On our end, like, we don't know where it came from before that.
No, not similar. I mean, it depends how this goes to really say if it's a similar circumstance.
The crew of the mining operation reported that they had dug it out of the ground, basically, and your reactions imply that you do not have such information about the artifact that you were dealing with yourself.
Gabriel, where did the EOS one come from?
I don't know where it came from originally. I just know that it came down to the colony about a month after we'd established everything down there. It was... I honestly don't even know where it came from before that, so... yeah, they didn't give us a whole lot of information about the thing that we were studying, but...
Interesting.
Well, I can definitely have a talk with Hayes and, make him a little bit worried. As a concerned party, of course.
Vix speaks up and just... Oh, go ahead.
You've already established yourself as someone who might have more knowledge than him, as, already were specialists, but when you talk to him briefly, I think he already expects you to have information, so hopefully he'll just trust what you have to say.
I'm very trustworthy.
Vix speaks up and says, whatever we do, we gotta figure out how to do it quick, because they've already had a day to analyze the data from the station, and none of this addresses either the captive Voxora or the corruption of the data.
Wow. Everyone is... This seems like it's going to be a decent amount of legwork for Peach and Bina, too, honestly, if you're going to be messing with things like paranoia and emotions. Mason and I, and CT seems to know the most about this, could search the ship and see where this Voxora could be kept. Scope out how we can get them out. Especially if we end up needing to leave the ship with the artifact, it's probably best to leave with the Voxora as well. We won't be able to come back after that.
Yes, if we can get everything done and sweep everyone out, in the same moment, that would be preferable for sure.
And what exactly will we do with the Voxora once we rescue them?
Oh, I assume tend to them. I feel like if they're been imprisoned, it's probably not in the greatest condition, so we can make sure they're okay and hopefully take them maybe back to base.
See where they want to go. CT, do you know this Voxor individual that has been captured? Or Patch, anything about them?
Not personally, but I am aware of them, and we are aligned in our viewership of many things, I shall say.
Well, I say we focus on first getting them out safely, because after that, we'll know a lot more about them and what they want to do.
Mhm. I think an option would be, as far as, we get them out, but getting them off the ship, we could stage a whole escape for them. There are shuttles on the ship. I can hotwire on a shuttle, get them off, get them out, try to manual override some stuff.
It's quick if anybody sees. I mean, I can try to, make them forget, but I mean, hopefully no one sees.
One idea I had was if we can get them out and I can lead them around invisible and unlock some stuff, get them through some things and get them out, and they can just go wherever they need to be. We can try to cover for them.
My concern is that if Hayes is using this individual as their primary source of navigation, that any instance of said navigator being absent will be highly noticed on multiple levels.
I think we need to get a feel for how they're being monitored, how they're being watched and contained. If we can find a gap, if we can, I don't know, get some people out of the way for just long enough to get us a window to get out.
There are a lot of unknowns. It seems like before we can decide what to do, we must first gather information.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Survey the area, figure out exactly where they're being kept, and then regroup and decide exactly how we're going to get them out. This whole paranoia game we're going to be playing with Hayes is probably going to take more than just a day anyway, so it'll give us time to actually think.
Right. So, when do we start?
I mean, no time like the present.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, if at all possible.
What was your job again, Vix?
I was going to. I don't know what
Be moral support if you want. We all need a cheerleader.
Yeah, no, I can definitely do that. But I was also thinking that I might be of use with the. I mean, listen. Right now, there's not much that I can do other than be sort of like a second, less effective Bina. So if we need any kind of emotional whatever somewhere else, I mean, I can do my best.
I mean, yeah, we could use you honestly while we're surveying the area. If we end up walking into anywhere that might be cause suspicion on our part, you could make people feel reassured that we're there instead of unnerved.
I can certainly try. I don't think I've ever done anything like that before, but yeah,
Have you practiced any more of the kind of Bina's ability to, blend in?
Yes. I mean, I did sort of practice a lot at base, not to get noticed by
Good.
anybody. But I suppose I could do that on my own. I still haven't figured out quite how to do it for long periods of time or reliably with multiple people like Bina can, but
Am I to understand that your ability is just replicating the abilities of others?
yes, but really badly and very arbitrarily, apparently.
And only mine, mostly.
I mean, and almost that one time.
That was fun.
And I guess you still kind of have remnants of mine.
He's also really good at word searches.
I find word searches to be an incredibly boring puzzle.
Yes, thank you. I mean, thank you, but hold on. Is that an
That was not an
Well,
outward
thanks.
compliment to you. However, thank you for agreeing with my stance. If
I
that
mean,
is
yes,
what you
that's
meant.
that is what I meant, but also I'm just trying to figure out if I should take that as somewhat insulting or if I should just
I think they said that you have a boring skill, so you can take that however you
I mean,
want.
I have some really interesting ones like being able to mimic other people's powers, so I think I'll take that. I'm okay with it.
Here's the
You're off the
mean-
hook, CT.
Good. That is all that I ever hope for.
What are our thoughts on someone building rapport with Galt?
Not it.
I elect
Vix grabs your
Mason.
wrist and pulls your finger away from your face. Says, "We don't do that."
Oh, okay. It's not. It comes back in like 20 years.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sure.
I not to elect someone else for this, but I think Mason might have the best chance of befriending him just because of the background.
No, well, we won't befriend. We maybe make short acquaintance.
Mason, I believe that you have the background certainly helps, but any person that wishes to speak to Galt individually about anything that could back up our previously unsubstantiated claims that Mr. Galt could betray Mr. Hayes would be very fruitful if you would be willing to take up such a venture.
I suppose that I do have the qualifications. Just run me through the plan one more time.
If we are to convince Mr. Hayes that Galt is capable of betraying or being outbought by the payout at the end of this venture, if you try to lure him towards that idea, even if it is not possible, if you put the seed of doubt if we put the seed of doubt in Hayes's mind and put something of substance in Galt's mind, then there will be something to back up that claim if Hayes goes to investigate Galt himself.
Also, just knowing more about the people who are around, because this is a lot of strangers. And knowing
Yeah.
more about Galt might help us to navigate him as we move forward.
Okay. So the plan, from what I'm hearing, is basically first fact-finding about the people on the ship, also fact-finding about the whereabouts of the Voxora, and finding some within the fact-finding about the people on the ship. Maybe we can try to get some of the engineering team on board with some kind of vault break.
And April, you could use your winning personality on the engineering team and those smarts.
I suppose, but I think it's probably
Actually,
better if... What?
Abriel could start some rumors. Get the crew talking, get the crew nervous, because then other people are going to be bringing these concerns to their captain.
I actually do have a bunch of standard checkups that I need to do on the crew, especially after that last mission.
Mm.
I'm not exactly the
Johnson.
chattiest doctor, but the crew don't know that.
planting a few, maybe a little bit too audible of a mutter under your breath about how you're glad they're not like the other patient you had, or I'm glad this one isn't having hearing voices. Just small
Even
things like
just
that.
talking about things we saw and the things that that the artifact can do. Just because then, like I said, because then we're not the only ones bringing our concerns when we finally do. And people will talk. This is a crew that's. Are we aware that this is a crew that like they've worked together before? The people
Some of
around
them.
here, like
Some of them are.
some of them. So there is at least some connections, and people talk to their friends. So we might not need to do as much legwork.
Yeah, I mean, I can try. I'll see what I can do.
Mhm.
In fact, I should probably be getting back to the sick bay right now. Just let me know if anything else changes. And she exits the quarters.
I'll make friends with the engineering crew. I'll be there all the time, anyways.
I
My,
might
what a
hang
doctor
around
you
there as
have.
well. Yeah, she keeps us safe.
Vix just kind of
I
frowns.
think-
She's kind of mean sometimes, though.
She
She says
is
hurtful things.
We love her.
She seems to definitely keep you all in check in some measure or another.
Someone has to.
Oh, she tries.
I might look around with you with the engineering crew as well. I will be honest, I didn't notice it until I got into the ship, but I haven't been around other chemoths for quite a while, and
Yeah.
I kind of miss it. So
I met a lot of the crew yesterday, and they were all very friendly. And I can introduce you to the couple of people that I know. There's a lot of people down there.
I'd appreciate it.
Rezik and my unnamed head engineer.
I think by this point you probably would have gotten his name. That oh god, where did it go? I had it.
Bakuvian head engineer.
Huh?
My Bakuvian head engineer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who likes me. He approves of Bina.
Yeah, hold on. I think it's on this document. Remember when I said I was going to try to be prepared? No, because I didn't say that.
Like, wait, I don't remember you saying that.
What? Prepared? What are notes? I don't understand. That would
Oh,
be,
God.
by this point you would have,
Thousands of pages of documents we have.
yeah, that would be Duran. Duran, curiously enough, named Duran Bellerophon.
Yes.
And I also get the name of the captain again because I'm looking at my notes and I kind of scribbled that name.
Yeah, that's. I actually don't know if I said it, but like that's Captain Kazfin Ramalina.
Oh, you did say that. I remember that.
I did. Okay, I didn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure that I did, but yeah.
I remembered how it sounded very rhymey.
Mm-hmm.
That is not at all what I wrote down. So I know I have it. It's just it's not
Great, perfect.
bad.
And Casfine was a Nelfin.
Mm-hmm.
And Duran was a Bakuvian.
Mm-hmm.
Galt was human?
Galt is human. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, okay.
Ellie, no. Ugh.
Galt is physically human.
On all levels besides spirit.
Yeah.
He's
I don't
human,
know.
but not humane.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
But to be honest, now that I think about it, in an alien in a universe that's highly connected between aliens, it probably is a very redundant word at this point.
Yeah. I was thinking about that recently because there is the Galactic Humanitarian Consulate, and the way that I've fixed this is that it was started by humans. That's problem solved.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, makes sense.
Anyway, yeah. So that's So, who's going where? We've got Bina and Taeon heading to engineering.
I think I have a meeting with Calvin Hayes.
CT will probably follow in that direction too.
Okay, and then Mason was doing what?
Am I going to talk to this fellow now or later?
Whatever
Am I-
you
Whatever
want
you
to.
want.
Yeah, you don't have to do it now if you don't want to.
I'm just wondering.
You could investigate the ship if you don't
Yeah,
want
like
to
you
talk
could
that's
do
right.
you could do
another
any
man.
number of other things too.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
like
I forgot. I forgot
Yeah.
about the
Yeah, we got
investigating part.
stuff.
There were so many things that we
there's
were
lots
talking
of things.
about.
There's lots of tasks that need to be done, so you
Yes.
can feel free to take any one of them.
Completely forgot about it. I'll do some
To-do
investi-
list.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to
All
investigate the ship
crewmates
then.
and we're trying to find an imposter. I'm sorry. We're all doing tasks on a ship. Like I had to. It just came
Yes.
to mind.
Surprise! The Among Us stream of Rule of War is actually going to be tabletop RPG. We're just going to be role playing Among Us.
Surprise,
gosh.
we're all the imposters
all of
here,
us.
actually. There's all of us are the imposters.
Mhm.
Didn't we already do that with April in an episode?
Yeah, we did already do that. But then we kept her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll investigate the ship then.
Okay. Sounds good. So, I think we'll start with Bina and Taeon. As the two of you make your way to engineering, you walk into the sort of the large, kind of roughly dome-shaped engineering deck, and as you step inside, Taeon, you're looking at kind of basically the entrance to engineering from the ship is at mid-level. So you're looking both up and down into engineering. And there's just sort of a flurry of activity that you immediately find like comforting, because it is in most ways a Chemothi engineering deck, as the majority of the engineers are Chemoth, and they are doing their jobs as only Chemoth can, which is to say, like, what would to most people probably look chaotic, but there is an order to it. It's just more frenetic than anything.
When we walk in, referring to the largeness of the engine room, Bina's like, cool, huh? Like, who's gonna like elbow you? Like, she's excited to be back.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I wish I had a bit more of an understanding that with technology as most Chemoths do, but even with my limited knowledge, this is incredible.
It's really fun. I got to do diagnostics on that one yesterday, and I got to climb all the way into that one, and I cleaned it, but it was still very exciting. And like, where's Rezik? Rezik can probably introduce you to more people than I can. I'm gonna look around for my new friend.
Yeah. You, Bina, are probably uniquely qualified amongst many members of the crew to recognize Rezik, or honestly any individual Chemoth amongst the others, because all of them are wearing their environment suits.
Yeah.
And so to anybody not familiar with Chemoth and the way that they sort of individualize their own kits, Bina's ability to sense familiar presences is probably the best way after that to determine who's who. So yeah, it doesn't take you long as you find Rezik actually on the mid-level, in the process of running diagnostics, and he looks up and says, "Oh, welcome back. I didn't realize you were on shift today."
I do this a lot, but also I was showing my friend. This is Taeon. Taeon, this is Rezik. Taeon wanted to see the engineering room.
Yes, of course. One moment, let me just finish these diagnostics, and you see as he like looks over at the diagnostics and just goes, "All right, and done. Good." And he swipes the results onto his terminal and starts going through them and says, "Yes. Well, this is let's walk over this way, as they're doing some they're doing a full power conduit bypass over there, so we don't want to get into their way."
Bina, as we're walking, Bina's just kind of like, we'll like walk side by side with them, and we'll just be like, "Yeah, Taeon might come and be my assistant when we are working on some stuff," like just making declarations. I'm just declaring that Taeon is going to be working in the engineering room.
Yeah. So like you go through and Rezik shows you around, and after a little while, he brings you over to the FTL drives down on the lower level. And he says, "And this, of course, is the FTL drive. We have our expert over there. Kital, are you busy?" And you see one of the Chemoth just sort of looks up from what they're doing, and they stand up and kind of walk over, and you see as she looks at the she hits the release on her environment helmet, which sort of the visor just raises up, and you can see a Kamathi woman who is just sort of standing there and just kind of smiles at both of you and says, "Hello. I did you want to take a look at the
No.
Yes.
And he's gonna back away a little bit, and you kind of see like he presses a button on his visor, and it kind of tints even darker.
What am I getting
Yeah.
right now from this situation?
You're getting a lot of shock, like intense shock, feeling of surprise and shock. Oh, not even I know what else he could be feeling right now. Shock, and I guess he feels like he's mainly shocked, but you can feel under like a really underline of sadness underneath that, and he's like slowly backing away. I'm sorry. I probably should go. Sorry for disturbing you. I'm probably needed over there, and he's just gonna rush away.
The two of them just sort of look at each other, and Rezik looks back to you and says, is he all right?
Yes. I think he's a little overwhelmed by the beauty of this FTL drive. I was very overwhelmed when I showed up. Maybe we'll try on a day when he's not feeling so anxious. She's like walking back. She's like, I will catch up with you. Thank you so much. I'll be back for my shift at whatever. And she's gonna try to run after Taeyeon.
Yeah. I would say, there's not really an easy way out of here from where you are, so you'd have to go back to the lift, basically.
You're like pressing the button on the lift, just trying to get it.
I know this space better than you do, so I would declare that I would probably be able to catch up
Yes,
to you.
definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, you find Taeyeon on the lift.
Pressing the lift button.
Mm-hmm.
She'll just kind of get in and stand next to him, and kind of like her arms kind of like crossed, and just kind of like, so I'm not good at pretending that wasn't weird. Are you good?
I don't think I can come here again.
Okay. Is it because what I said? You don't actually have to be my assistant. I was just kind of making a joke.
No, I wanted to. That was honestly fine. I would have been nice, but
Did you recognize her?
yes.
From where?
She's my mother. I didn't know she'd be on this trip, and honestly that changes a lot. She never told me about anything like this, but I guess she's probably been on a lot of things that she hasn't she won't has.
Okay. So I don't know anything about space-time. How meticulous are we gonna have to be about keeping you out of the same space as her, or is that not a real big deal? Is that just like a movie thing? I don't know how that works.
Honestly, I don't either. But you can kind of tell that the shock is dissipating, and you're feeling more of the sadness now. It's honestly not that I just can't. I don't think I can be around her.
Well, I'll keep an eye on her for you.
I'd appreciate that. She's nice. I think you'd like her.
I talked to her a little bit yesterday. She was moving very quickly, so it was more of like a hi bye. But
Yeah.
Bina's gonna kind of like loop an arm with yours just to kind of like.
I haven't seen her in a long time. It was just a bit surprising, I guess.
We'll watch over her, for sure.
I think I'm gonna go to my room for a bit and collect myself, and then survey the rest of the ship. And still stay useful.
Okay. Let me know if you need anything. I'm around.
Will do.
I'm gonna hug him for real.
Mhm.
It's just very,
He's gonna
very
hug-
quick.
he'll hug her back.
Won't hold it super long because I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, but just like a quick squeeze. And
Yeah.
Then we'll, the doors, I'm guessing, will just open on whatever floor,
Mhm.
and Bina will stay on the lift.
And he'll head off.
Okay. As you're watching Taeyeon walk away, you see a larger form step onto the lift, and you see Duran, who's just like, oh, there you are. Okay, I've got a whole mountain of. Wait, you're not even on shift. What are you even doing here? Doesn't matter. Come with me.
Let's do it.
And then the lift doors close, and we'll cut to elsewhere on the ship, as Mason, you're getting ready to head out and investigate the ship, Vix just goes, so I don't have a job yet.
Sure you do.
I do. Is it coming with you? Because I can't actually read your facial expression right now. I don't know what.
Yeah. Follow me.
Great.
Let's look. See what we can do.
All right. So where are we starting?
Usually I start these things by just wandering.
Great. Good. Yes. Okay. Wandering is good. Yeah.
And try to act casual.
I am always casual. I am very. Okay. I'm just gonna follow your lead. And as the two of you make your way out into the hall, any particular direction you want to head first? Anywhere in particular you want to look at first, or?
Well, I guess probably try to go in a direction that we haven't been on the ship yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, as you actually, you know what? Tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and I'm gonna have you give me a roll here. This is gonna be kind of like an investigation sort of thing. So
that I can do.
Yeah. So this is gonna be like this will be an intellect task, and the difficulty of this one will be 4.
It's the wrong dice. Okay, hold on. I get the Cypher dice. All right, perception is a skill I have.
Yes, that will come into play here. Yes.
And investigation, of course, and trained in tasks, discerning falsehoods or falsehoods, disguise.
I'm inclined,
and of course, I'm trained in task of perception as well. But
right, I'm inclined to say no on that one because I don't think that applies here. So I think right now it would just be those 2 reductions from your perception investigation skills.
Okay. Yeah.
And so you're down to a difficulty 2 now.
It seems a little silly, but can I use my?
Yes, actually, yes.
I always want to pull this out whenever I
can. Yeah. So you'll get an asset from that, which brings you down to a difficulty 1. So right now you need a 3 or better.
All right, here I go. 15.
Okay, great. So you and Vic sort of wander around the ship for a while, tending towards places that you either haven't been yet or just like didn't get a lot of time to spend there. Um, and as you start walking, after a few minutes, Vix just starts looking around and says, "This is kind of the area where the vault is." Um, he says, "Yeah, it's just down that hall." Um, and as you look where he's pointing, you can see that there is indeed a corridor at the very end of which you can see the vault doors, which are these heavy, um, sealed doors that they close in the middle, and you can see the large, complex-looking locking mechanism on the front of the doors. But before that, you notice that there are other doors in that hall as well. Um, and in particular, what you note is that coming out of one of those, you see a an Anzalonian man, a little shorter than average, who walks out of one of the doors, and you can see around his waist he's wearing like what appears to be like a it's something it's a bunch of equipment on a tool belt that doesn't look like engineering equipment. In fact, it looks, if anything, it looks like a far less advanced version of the kind of tools Ada carries around.
Okay. So, okay. How do they hold themselves?
In terms of like posture or like demeanor or
posture. Yeah, actually all of those.
Okay. So, I mean, he's basically like he's sort of a bit hunch-shouldered, and you can see as he's removing some work gloves, and he sort of hooks them on his belt, and you can see he seems to be a little bit. He seems, just from looking at him, like he might be a little bit frustrated, but he turns down the hall and starts kind of walking towards where you and Vix are walking past. And as he draws level with you, he just kind of nods to both of you and just walks past you.
Good day.
Vix kind of watches him go. Sorry, you again. I can't. I did this. I mean, like, you know, has anybody ever told? Has Bina ever told you that you're hard to read?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay. Good talk. Yeah.
So just real quick, the door, the big sealed door at the end, that's where the artifact is.
Yes.
Okay,
but he
so,
came out of a
okay.
different door. He came out of a different door along
So
in the same corridor.
We'll just kind of walk towards that door, and as we're walking, I'll just say, where would you keep a high prized, at least in the form of information, prisoner?
Well, I mean, probably somewhere that would be well defended. Wait, and he kind of like looks at the vault and he just says, "You think it's somewhere around here?" Oh, that makes so much sense. There's already so much security in this hallway. And yeah, okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Personally, I would have put in a spread out. I would have put the prisoner somewhere else, but that's not important. I also wouldn't keep a prisoner. I'm just saying things that I know from past training that I've read about and seen things in the regulators, but
yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. Hayes doesn't exactly strike me as the overly thoughtful sort. So that kind of it makes sense.
When you have that much money, you don't have to have a brain, really.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I met quite a few people just like him when I was in school. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you also had to work with them too in your past endeavors. So you know quite a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, by the way.
Sorry about
that you were used by the corpse just like the rest of us.
Yeah. That. Real fun. I mean, being manipulated and then kidnapped by your boss's bosses, and then given weird powers that you don't really understand, but somehow are able to use them, but only when you're a sociopathic jackass.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we taking a look?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just kind of, as we're walking, Mason's like keeps his eyeglass out, kind of just reading anything he can read. I also like to see about, this is probably not that important, but it seems like a cool thing, like making like a map, like a map of what we're doing, like mapping the corridors on like a little touchpad of some kind.
Yeah, no, that's easy enough to do. Especially like, you could pretty easily overlay them over like a blueprint of the ship. Like ship schematics would be pretty easy to get, probably, especially with quite frankly, it's one of those things that I imagine like Bina, anytime you are interacting with any kind of ship, probably is just like, here's that ship schematics. I don't expect anybody to look at them, but here they are. Like so like I could see that very easily being accessible to you. So you could easily just sort of map your search pattern on there.
And then also make note of the fellow who walked out and left.
Yeah. So as you draw up level with the door that he came out of, it doesn't, there's no window or anything in through that door, so you can't see inside. But as you're kind of like looking through your glass, you see as it starts immediately analyzing the door, and you can see that there's pretty high security on this door itself. Like, this is a pretty sophisticated locking mechanism that's on this door.
Ooh. Well, we definitely found something that is being highly secured behind here.
Vix,
not sure how to get in.
Vix looks around and just says, in chemistry, when we're doing experiments, we have a control to test our hypothesis against, and I think it might be a good idea. See if they're running the same security subroutines on the other doors in the hallway. That might give us an idea.
Good. On it.
Yeah, just sort of taking your glass, sort of scanning some of the other doors in the hallway. They have varying degrees of security on them, but none of them have the level of security that the door that the other guy that the other Enzalonian came out of has.
This one's has the tightest lock. For sure.
I mean, strong grounds for a strong hypothesis, I think.
Plus, it is in the same location as, well, the artifact, so with that, yeah, I'd say so.
Wow. Well.
But I want to know for sure, but I don't know if we can right this moment.
Oh, wait. I have an idea. But I'm not sure I'll be able to do it with you. I can just wait for him to come back and make myself unnoticed, follow him in. I mean, it's not gonna do much against those. And he kind of points to where you can see at the end of the hallway, like, you can see just sort of like a security camera that's sort of very slowly panning the corridor.
You think? Are you saying that that'll see you regardless, or?
Yeah. What I do is affect attention, and well, camera's objective. A camera doesn't have perceptions.
Well, maybe we'll come back to that then. I don't think I know. I don't really want to blow our cover and try to distract the camera right away.
That's fair. Well, if we can always go back and tell the others what we found. I mean, it's a pretty fair bet that if with that much security, somebody like Hayes isn't smart enough to try to keep decoys. Not for something like that. He's smart enough to think that he's smarter than everybody else, and not smart enough to realize that he's not.
Exactly. Yes, I say we go and report what we. That's my level 8 Cypher. I'm using it right now. No, let's head back and report what we've seen so far.
Sounds good. So, before we go to break, I'm going to cut to CT and Peach as you're making your way towards Hayes' office. You can see, as you're kind of moving up, you can see some of the security personnel who are kind of in the corridor, leaning in and talking to each other. There is a very sort of anxious energy amongst some of them as you're like, it's very clear, like they're not trying to hide it. Like a few of them look confused, and as you're walking past a couple of them, one of them is just saying, "No, I didn't get any orders about that. So for as far as we're concerned, we just keep on with what our current orders are, and well, Hayes will tell us the rest later."
As we're kind of walking by them, I'm just gonna turn and say, "Everything all right over here?"
The one who is kind of seems to be in command of the two, Keldro man, kind of turns and looks at you, and he just says, "Everything's under control here, ma'am."
Okay, well, I'm sure you all will keep us very safe.
That's the job.
If there are any accommodations that are needed for your safety or comfort, please do not feel free to inform me at any time. I'm very easy to cite.
Thanks. So we'll keep that in mind. And as he says, actually, if you don't mind me asking, where exactly
Yes.
are you headed right now? Are you going to go see Mr. Hayes?
We have a meeting.
Yes.
The two of them look at each other, and he looks back at you, and he just says, "I don't think that's going to be possible right now. Mr. Hayes is currently indisposed."
Where is he?
Or what is he doing?
He doesn't really react, but the other security guard looks at him like, just kind of like gives him a look. As I said, Mr. Hayes is indisposed, and he's not to be disturbed.
Can I read his mind?
Yeah. Yeah, this is I think
The rest of the cast are like, read his mind.
this
Is he really? Yeah.
this is not one I think is going to require a roll for you, because even if it did, I think you would be able to just sort of you wouldn't need to roll anyway. So I'll just give this one to you that you're hearing. Damn, I wish I knew. At least I don't know what the hell he's thinking going off on his own, but I'm sure he has a good reason.
Off as in like off the ship off, or off as in like they don't know where he is on the ship? Okay, cool. He's just gonna say, well, if you hear from him, we have a meeting. It's a little seems out of character for him not to keep a meeting.
I'll let him know you came by.
Okay. Do you mind if I just go and check on him in his office if he's in there? Is he in there right now, or?
No, he's not in his office. He's retired to his quarters.
Are you sure about that?
The other guard is like looking between the two of you, just like fully like just completely just guileless. Like this other guard is just kind of like looking between the two of you, and
We are specialists hired by Hayes, so if there's an issue, maybe we can help.
The other guard just says, "Sir," and he just says, "Stow it," and he just looks back at you and just says, "All right, look. Mr. Hayes and Colonel Galt left not too long ago. Said that they weren't to be disturbed and that we weren't to tell that we were to maintain our current orders, but that we weren't. We should make sure that the crew and personnel on the ship just believed that everything was happening as normal, but."
They left the ship?
Yes, may I correctly verify verbiage here that they are vacated the vessel?
I'm not entirely sure, but there was an unscheduled shuttle launch not long ago.
That is very interesting, and thank you for revealing such information. We shall not reveal or put you out in any way for coming to us with that.
Yeah. I mean, I apologize. I assumed that you knew that Mr. Hayes had informed you of his plans, but
He must have left in quite a hurry.
No, that it is indeed quite odd that he would not come to me with such plans at all either.
yes, sir. We'll just get back to it. Let's go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think CT and I are probably going to walk a little bit further away before we continue this conversation.
Yeah.
So should we check out his office, see if he left anything interesting in there?
That
Clues
would
to
be
where he went?
That would be the most reasonable course of action, would it not?
I think so. Something must have happened. Something must have changed.
There are a lot of factors that are changing on a level that I am not even privy to. So any clues as to what is going on, I would love to know the details of.
Do we have anyone down with the artifact? Like, is Abriel, like, does anybody have access to it, or is it totally locked away?
It is pretty well locked away. I mean, you would not have, like, none of you have access to the vault. Like,
Yeah.
But
I was just, is there a way for us to check that, like, it's still there? Basically, is what I want to check.
I mean, not immediately at your disposal.
Not.
Okay. I didn't know if, like, someone we knew on the ship had access or something like that. We could maybe find out. Okay.
Well, at the very least, Mr. Hayes is not personally here to object to us entering his office quarters.
Also true.
Lead
the way.
We're gonna cut a little bit ahead. So, as you enter Mr. Hayes' quarters, office, which is not locked or secured in any way. You step inside and you can see that where his computer is still his terminal is still open. It doesn't seem to, I mean, it doesn't have anything on it currently besides just the his own personal, like, basically like family seal kind of thing, right? Like, it's got that just sort of as like the as the waiting screen, as the standby screen.
Do you have any actions you would like to take place within the next 10 seconds before I do something drastic?
I mean, I'm super curious on what that means. So I'm sorry, I zoomed out for a second. You said there was a screen that was lit, and then what else was there in
Nothing.
here?
It's just like it's his office, and the terminal is open, but like the screen is just on the standby screen, which is just sort of like Hayes' own like family.
Is it like messy? Is it clean? Like, what's the
It's
state
clean.
of it?
It's very clean. Yeah.
Okay. Don't think he uses it very much.
No, he has his digital assistant, do much of the work for him.
The only thing, CT, that you've thus far on this expedition seen Mr. Hayes do from his in his office is just sort of observing different parts of the ship via screens, just sort of watching. That's literally like the only thing that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly the bridge.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, can I like manually hack Mr. Hayes' computer?
Sure. You can certainly do that. I mean, there's currently nothing, like, it's not like encrypted at the moment or anything like that. It's just sort of like open.
I mean,
so
bypass anything that like I need to.
Sure.
Like easy.
Yeah,
Does he have a password? Does he have no password?
Yeah. So like, sure. Let's go ahead and make this a roll.
Okay.
So this will be an intellect task, and the difficulty of it is going to be 3.
Oh yeah, no problem. Free level of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Then know a little bit about everything.
Yeah, that applies.
Yeah, I'll roll on that one then.
All right, so it's just down to a
Let's do that.
difficulty 1, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. 3 or better.
12.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of you open the terminal to like looking at kind of like the menu and start kind of going through, and you find one part of one of the programs, you find like basically a list of like recently accessed programs. One of them is the like ship's security monitor, and as you open that, you can see that like it is protected by Hayes' personal password. And that you kind of go through it, and you just sort of like quickly open a dialogue window and just start like running through like combinations, and before too long you've managed to crack the security on it. It's pretty rudimentary. And
Password, just password 1.
yeah, it's ABCD 1 2 3 4.
It's Hayes is cool.
Yeah. You open it up, and actually it still is open to the last thing that Hayes was looking at, the last camera screen that Hayes was looking at, which is the vault's internal camera. And as you kind of looking through at it, you note a particular absence of one recently acquired spherical artifact. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Oh God.
Yep.
I knew it.
We're
Immediately, I was like, "What's
making
the
it."
artifact?"
All right.
Oh,
So
God. I know that was my first thought too.
We're going to go ahead and take our break. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll see
fucker.
you in just a little bit. Hello, everybody. We are back. So, when we left off, Calvin Hayes, along with one Colonel Axel Galt, seemed to have absconded with the artifact without telling anybody where they were going, and that is where we left off. So, we're going to start with basically exactly where we left off, with Peach and CT seeing the absence of the artifact in the vault.
Did you anticipate this being a possibility? Because, to be honest, in all of my observations, I certainly did not.
I mean, as soon as they were gone, I worried about it, but I hoped it wasn't. It was just a worry. Where?
Is this a common practice with those that are affected by artifacts?
We should. Is there a way that we could check if he's been down there or if Galt's been down there?
Yeah, can I pull up
Yeah.
logs
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like
You
everyone
absolutely.
that's
Yeah,
been
you
there?
could absolutely like. You can literally like go back through the feeds, like the video feeds, and you scroll back a ways. I would say I'll say probably like the more systematic approach is probably to start with like the moment the artifact was secured and then go forward.
Mhm.
And so as you're going,
Not much time to go through.
yeah,
It hasn't been too long.
yeah. So as you start scrolling through, you see about I'd say probably about 6 hours after the artifact had been secured, you see that in fact Hayes does enter the vault. He walks up to the artifact, he deactivates the containment, and just sort of like, just with a sort of bemused smile on his face, starts looking around and just sort of gently sort of touching the artifact and like looking at it, and just occasionally just sort of sitting back and just shaking his head. He does that for probably about maybe 10 minutes or so, and then reactivates the containment and then leaves. And
He doesn't like pause, like he doesn't seem like he's lost time at all.
doesn't seem like it. However, as you continue scrolling, about 2 hours after that, he comes back. He deactivates the containment once again, and this time he's completely expressionless as he enters the vault and is looking at the artifact. He stands there and just sort of stares at it for a while. He doesn't circle it or touch it like he did before. He just sort of stands there. He stands there for probably about 3 hours. And then, all of a sudden, you see as he just sort of, like, shakes himself, he looks around the room, like, very clearly confused. And then he sort of looks at the artifact, and you can see his face just sort of goes into sort of a mask of panic. And he quickly fumbles with the containment, and you watch as he's fumbling with the containment, his hands freeze. And then they slowly lower back to his side. And then he turns around without activating the containment and walks out of the vault. Scrolling forward, you see the next time you see anybody go into the vault, it's Hayes again, but this is probably about 2 hours ago. Hayes walks into the vault, not vacant like he was before, but just with a sort of more like determined sort of look on his face as he walks over to the artifact, grabs it, and he pulls it off out of the kind of like the plinth that it had been set on for the containment, and puts it into into just like a small crate, takes that crate under an arm and leaves the vault. That is, as you scroll through, nobody's been into the vault since then.
So I think that thing has its hooks in him.
Or perhaps Mr. Hayes came to the same conclusion that we did and sought to do something about it in his own right, however warped.
Yeah. I think both are a possibility. But I don't know. Those artifacts, they prey on curiosity, and I think Hayes is a pretty curious guy.
I think my difficulties right now lie in, shall we prioritize the safety of Mr. Colin Hayes and Mr. Galt and the artifact, or the individuals aboard this ship with our next decisions?
Well, we'll have to consider both.
And how how would you intend we do that?
Maybe we can figure out where they're going.
That would be the logical next course of action, I would say.
Is that camera hooked up to any other parts of the safe? Maybe where the Voxora is being kept?
Yeah, am I able to scroll through any other feeds at all?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of scroll through some feeds, and some of these are probably pretty familiar to you, as like you've probably taken a look at some of them yourself. But there is definitely a whole, like, it looks like a totally separate security network, actually, like an isolated security network where seemingly probably only accessible from here. And as you kind of switch over to it, you can see another camera. This one in it's a room that looks like it's set up as some sort of robotics lab. And you can see there is a work table, and on it, strapped to it, there is a Voxora individual. You can still see a lot of the synth skin that is on this individual. That gave them the appearance of a Keldro woman. But as you kind of look, you can see where some of that synth skin has been removed, and the Voxora has basically, like, the chest cavity of the Voxora has been opened. And also, like, some of the, like, the area around, like, kind of like the cranial like plates around the Voxora, like underneath the synth skin, have also been removed, and you can see that there are numerous wires that are sort of hooking into various apparatuses around the room. The Voxora themselves, like, looking from here, it's hard to say whether they're still alive or not. But chances are, in order to keep the information, the Voxora would have to be kept alive.
CT has like a hand on a mouse, presumably, and it is being crushed completely in its grasp.
Peach kind of like places a hand on your shoulder if CT lets her.
Yeah, he would.
Well, Hayes is not here. We could go help them.
We could, but there are security measures, and Hayes is no doubt indoctrinated of many other crew members in keeping this secret from this location. It would not be so simple as Hayes is gone and we act.
Well, this kind of speeds up our timetable a little bit. We need to get that artifact back, and Hayes is acting pretty suspicious. He's disappeared with this powerful item that's known to mess with minds. I mean, I think we have to use that. Maybe we can take it to the captain, or...
Yes, that would be the correct course of action to take next. Would I be able to, like, is there any, like, logs of, like, the, like, whatever shuttle that, like, Hayes left with in this computer at all, or is it just security feeds?
I'm not sure that you'd be able to find that information from Hayes' terminal.
Yeah.
That's
what I thought.
Yeah, probably not from Hayes' terminal. That's something that you would have to find either either on the bridge or from, like, the hangar bay.
But we at least have the time frame of which he possibly left in, from 2 hours ago, assumedly, until now. So that's still something to narrow down in.
I wonder where they'd take it. Where it would want to be taken.
I do not have any ideas myself. I do not know what you would do, or with at least the capabilities that Hayes has, what you would do with such an object. Other than...
I mean, it's a weapon.
Yes, and the only inclination that I may have gotten from the short experience that I had with such is that it spreads itself like a virus and tries to infect as many people as it can to serve whatever will it desires. On this ship, it might have thought that it could not achieve such goals, and Hayes' own curiosity fed into something in order to try to spread its influence elsewhere.
I mean, that's a possibility. I've seen this kind of something like this happen before. Damian Ellis, he was influenced by one of these artifacts.
And how did he act in a similar situation?
He became a pawn. He was being controlled, much like the way that those people were being controlled. Or he made an agreement with. There's no way of knowing, but he became part of something that was bigger than just one artifact.
All of this time, and you have not identified any patterns such which these artifacts seem to act with.
I mean, they're connected to powerful beings.
Do these beings seem to have any specific goal or any inclination towards any specific actions?
I think they want to wage a war on consciousness itself.
That would be most unfortunate should they achieve such goals.
Does CT react to that in any way?
This whole time he's been kind of subdued. like literally every bit of learning about the artifact he's just kind of been very curious about, but not anything very heavy-handed. He's not like excited by this.
I think, is there anything else you need to do in here? Because I think maybe if we talk, I think Patch might have an idea where they might go.
Patch has an insight into organics that I simply do not, and so perhaps that would be the right course of action.
Do you think I wonder if Galt has been taken over by this thing too?
I would not put it past Galt to be manipulated by anything more powerful than himself. However, he just might be listening to the words of a man paying him.
I don't think it would matter to him either way.
Does not speak positively of Mr. Galt's character in either direction, yes.
Well, I think we need to let everybody know about this.
Do you intend to spread panic aboard this entire ship?
Oh, no, just our crew.
Yes, that would probably be for the best.
Yeah.
And accelerate conversations with the captain, probably as well.
Okay, let's see where everybody is. Let them know what's going on quickly, and then go talk to the captain.
Yes. Let's leave this. Let's leave Hayes' office like we found it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's one crushed mouse.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Yeah.
We can't do anything about that. Let's not focus on that.
All right. We're gonna cut to a little while later as Peach and CT have have kind of recalled everybody back to quarters, and related the information that they've learned. So Abriel just kind of hand in like forehead in her hand, just sort of like rubbing her forehead and just I knew something like this was going to happen. Okay. We need to figure out where they're going, where they're taking it. More importantly, we need to figure out what we're going to do to get it back.
Can I go down to the hangar bay right now and just stay on comms with everybody? Like, I want to try to see if I can track the ship they took.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll just stay on like comms with everybody and just kind of run
Escape.
down.
You're escaped into the
Yeah.
into the meeting.
Alma just says, "I'll come with
Skype, Zoom.
What is the pattern behavior behind people that fraternize with these objects besides becoming soulless doll-like creatures? Do they intend for any specific goal, or is it just to spread,
dominate, control? Peach is kind of looking over at Patch.
Mhm.
I don't understand that. Even though we have had run-ins with this is only the second artifact. It's kind of hard to draw a pattern with only 2 points on a graph.
Damian Ellis had more artifacts and he hoarded them somewhere. Do you think that wherever he's hoarded them, if the artifact has gotten control of Hayes, maybe they're going to the same place?
I mean, that would make sense.
Or if he's just taking it somewhere to get rid of it? I don't know. That seems unlikely to me.
Yeah, I know you said that it seemed like he had control in the last bit of the footage, but I doubt he kept that control of himself while on a shuttle for that long with the artifact. I mean, I guess all we can really do right now, as far as the artifact goes, is hope Bina can find something on this.
Something that might be
And
worth
figure out where exactly they're going from there.
something that may be worth considering is any other instances of populations being affected in strange or unexpected ways en masse.
Patch, you have been around these artifacts, yes?
Only the one that was recovered by the crew, and only on
Have
the
you
base.
have you maintained prolonged contact with said artifact?
I was among those whose job it was to monitor the containment of the artifact, but beyond that, no.
Interesting.
Bina, do you think you better find anything? I'd like to go through the comms.
How far am I from them? Am I still on my way or am I there?
Yeah, I mean, like we'll say that you're able to get there, and yeah, you're able to find kind of like the place where like flight computers are, and it's not hard to convince people that you know belong there and should be. Nobody's really asking you any questions, so.
Bina walks with confidence most places that she goes, so I don't think she's gonna. Yeah, she'll just walk like up to a terminal that's kind of available that seems like it would be what she's looking for, and she'll kind of just like open it and access and start. Remember, like you said 2 hours ago, and we'll start kind of like putting in qualifications of like within this many hours. Maybe if there's like an authorization, like use if like I can like authorization of use or anything. What if I can narrow it down? Not that I think there's been a lot of shuttle traffic.
No,
it
it's
just
easy
be
to
the
find because
flash
there's only
thing.
one. There's
But-
only one.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Yeah, so then she just pulls it up.
Yeah, and yeah, you can see that about an hour ago, Hayes requisitioned the shuttle and left, basically.
Can I get into security footage
Mhm.
from the hangar bay?
Yeah.
I want to look, and then I'll like stream it back to my friends so they can see what we're looking
Yeah.
at.
So I mean,
down here.
basically, what you see is Galt and Hayes walking towards the shuttle. Hayes hands Galt the crate, and then he then takes it onto the shuttle and loads it, and then Hayes also boards the shuttle, and there seems to be minimal conversation between the two of them, other than like Hayes occasionally issuing an order to Galt.
There's no like odd or stilted mannerisms or anything. Do they still seem as fluid as
Yeah,
standard people?
Yep.
Okay.
they seem to. Although
Okay.
there
well,
is actually, go ahead and give me an intellect task, and the difficulty on this one is going to be, I think the difficulty on this is going to be 5.
I mean, Damien Ellis seemed normal, but he was being controlled, so it doesn't.
True.
It doesn't always.
Damien Ellis seemed like a little bitch. Okay.
He still is a little.
He was already a bitch.
I don't know
Sorry.
why. Why does it always catch me off guard? I don't get it. Whenever Caitlin swears, it always catches me off guard. I don't understand why. 'Cause
Why?
You swear all the time. I don't know why in my head.
It's my cheery disposition.
If we were
I don't-
a family-friendly channel, that would stop purely on the basis of Caitlin alone. So
I know. I've told the story before, but I got a stream demonetized once because I swore a lot because no one told me I wasn't allowed to. Anyways, intellect is
yes, intellect task difficulty 5.
Okay, and this is I don't actually know if I have anything that'll help me here.
I know for a fact that you do. So
Oh, okay. I'll say a bunch of things and then you tell me. Sensing emotions, dispositions.
yes, 100% that.
Oh, okay. This is reading them. Okay, got it. That's 2.
Mhm.
Sorry, I thought this was like using the
No,
computer.
no,
I'm like,
no.
I'm not actually that good at that. Social interaction. I'm not in part of this interaction. Tasks involving sight.
You know what? Yes, it'll matter because it's because you have it's not exactly clear on the feed, so you'd have to like yes. So
My crystal clear.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have
Nice.
it's 5. I can get it down to
Okay,
6.
great.
So 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, as you're looking at Hayes, and you haven't interacted with him too much, but like you can tell that he's not acting like himself. That sort of jovial, like unearned confidence kind of like thing. Like he's not that. He's very serious, very focused. He doesn't quite have that same bounce in his step that he usually has. Like he is.
Yeah, I'll point that out
Yeah.
over comms, like kind of like you can see it there. Like she'll kind of be like when he turns back, like you can see, like he looks, whatever.
Mhm.
He looks really, really focused. That's kind of, I mean, I haven't spent a ton of time with him, but it seems out of character.
I can back up that is uncharacteristic of Mr. Hayes.
And does he seem fully there, or like does he doesn't seem vacant?
Nope, doesn't seem vacant at all.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, that aside, I'll leave that
Mhm.
feed with you guys so you guys can look at that. I want to see if do they have any sort of tracking systems? Because this was just a shuttle, because then it's affiliated with this ship, right?
Right. So these shuttles are unlike a lot of other shuttles that you've interacted with recently. These are long-range shuttles, so these are more intended to be able. They're capable of their own short FTL jumps. So like these are basically like deep space shuttles. And so like as you're looking for any kind of like any like flight plans.
Homing beacon, flight plans.
Yeah, there's
anything
the
like that,
flight
like-
plans scrubbed. However,
Okay.
you do see that like as you're looking, you're able to like find not exactly like tracking data, but you are like because there would be some kind of homing beacon, some kind of like basically like a low jack kind of thing on like the shuttles, but
Mhm.
it was deactivated.
Okay.
But this is one thing that you can find, which is the trajectory of their jump.
Okay.
That is a piece of information that is still on file because they would not have had control over whether or not the Bellerophon recorded that. That is something that you can find, and as you're looking at it, you can see the direction that they jumped, and As you pull it up, Bina, Alma just sort of like puts a hand to her mouth as you're looking at it, because you can see, both of you
Going
notice at the
towards
same time
stars.
that they've jumped directly into the tatters.
That's what I thought too.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just kind of, you guys can see the screen that I'm looking
To
at.
be clear, like since
okay.
you're right on the edge of the tatters right now, there's nowhere else in that direction they could have gone. Like that
Yeah,
is
no,
where they're
just-
going.
They went into the tatters. Okay, unless they're being really just ridiculous and jumping over the tatters, but that doesn't seem likely. And also very unsafe. Okay, so I think our next, are we gonna make the Bellerophon? Are we gonna take the Bellerophon into this? Do we need to talk to the captain, or are we gonna? She kind of like looks around and goes like, steal a ship, like.
I mean, if we're going to steal a ship, which honestly I'm not against,
I don't know if we have the resources.
need to get. Yeah, we might have the resources, and we definitely need to get Voxora off this ship if we do that.
I think convincing the captain might be the first plan.
Vix,
Peach, do you want to go up and talk? Maybe take CT. And,
CT, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So get
There
a friendly
are-
face.
There are many people aboard this ship that it would be a pity to just abandon like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put any of these
Yeah.
people at risk, but also they might be our best shot at getting them back.
Vic,
They have also been abandoned by their expedition leader and might be sympathetic to the idea that we chase.
Vix holds
What
up a
do we
hand and
tell
says,
them?
"Not to mention, these shuttles are short range. We're gonna we're gonna at least have to tell them something at some point, because otherwise they're gonna leave without us, and then we'd have
Yeah, we can't.
we've got
yeah.
nowhere to go."
So do you want the Bellerophon to go or a shuttle?
I think the whole
Bellerophon.
Bellerophon has
Okay.
to
The
go.
whole ship
Okay.
must come with.
So we
and-
have to go talk. Someone has to go talk to the captain.
Yeah.
How are we
We-
going to convince her?
Having more of a ship on our side is much better than a single shuttle full of people.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Taking a shuttle into the tatters.
I mean,
Like,
it's
you're not thinking. Like that's the only reason you would do that. You're not thinking. I mean, you don't fly into the tatters without an entire equipped ship. Like
well, I don't think the thing that was calling them cared too much about their life.
Yeah.
did I recognize anything out of Galt? Out of character out of Galt when I was looking?
No, I mean it's hard to
So-
say with Galt because you don't
Yeah.
really know him at all, and
He has no emotion.
Galt is Galt.
Galt is Galt always.
It's gold.
There's a
yeah.
chance that Galt is just following orders of his,
Oh, yeah,
the
for
person
sure.
who's paying him. He might not actually be under any sort of, influence, which means Galt is also in danger here too. Possibly. I don't know. Either way, I think someone needs to go talk to the captain. Like,
Once we
how-
convince the captain and we do this, I mean, we have
We-
no idea what's on the other side.
we've already lost an hour. They could be anywhere.
Okay.
We gotta talk to her now.
Yes.
Patch, do you have any idea of what we might find when we do follow them there?
I've never been inside the tatters before, only skirted them. And that only once, on my way into the rest of the galaxy.
Don't fly in the tatters. You don't.
Alma just sort of like puts a hand on your shoulder. She's like, I know.
Then they must be being guided by something that has a navigator or navigation system that is capable of foregoing any known or charted areas of the galaxy, which is even more concerning as of now.
Or they've been torn to pieces.
We can only hope that that is the best option.
CT, captain?
Yes.
All right. So, and so the two of you. Is it just the two of you heading to the bridge?
Unless anyone else wants to come.
Yeah.
Anyone is welcome.
I'm gonna talk to Mason about what he found and see how I can help with
Okay.
that.
Sounds good. So with Peach and CT, we'll cut to the bridge as you're stepping on board. You see the captain is currently not in her seat. Instead, there is a Lumnian who you recognize as CT. You would recognize this as the first mate, Heron Vassret. They are probably about, I'd say they're probably about 7.5 feet tall. Sort of like a deep gray skin, with sort of like very, very like bright, clear eyes that just sort of sweep the entirety of the bridge with this very sort of like with a sort of intensity that leaves no doubt as to whether or not they are observing like particular details. And as you approach, you can see he turns, or they turn to you as you're approaching, and they say, "Oh, welcome to the bridge. What can I do for you?"
We are looking for the captain. Is she currently available?
We have an urgent matter we need to discuss.
The captain is currently retired to her ready room, but I can, whatever you need. Is there something I can help you with?
Mr. Vested, are you aware that the leader of this expedition is currently absent from the ship?
I was made aware of that fact. They look a little bit concerned at that, and then sort of glance in the direction of like the ready room door, and they look at you and say, "Is this?" I see. And they sort of straighten themselves in the chair and tap the comms. They, "Captain."
Yes.
CT is here and wants a word with you about the departure of our employer. Of course. And yes. Understood. And they turn to you and say, "The captain will receive you in her ready room." And they stand up. And as they're standing, you can see now, like as they stand, like they are they turn away from you, and you can tell now that they're one of the rare Lumnians who actually like grow hair. And this individual's hair is basically like just kind of in the from the top of the head kind of back, and is currently up in just sort of like or not up, but like braided down in a long braid down their back, and just like a simple braided goatee on their chin. As they stand, they look at you and say, "Follow me."
Sir, I'm like so hung up on that. Like this person is like 2 feet taller than CT.
Lumnians are big. This is actually pretty short for a Lumnian, frankly. So like,
Ooh,
Jesus.
must have high ceilings in this
yes,
ship.
100%, always. So yeah, you as the three of you go into the captain's ready room, you step inside, and the captain herself is sitting at a desk. And as she, as you enter, she stands and says, "Well, I suspect that you have some light to shed on this whole situation. Please, have a seat."
Yes.
Thank you.
And she sits, and says, "So, judging by your demeanor, I'm guessing this isn't exactly an emergency situation, but I'm also suspecting that there is action to be taken quickly. So tell me quickly so I can decide what to do."
It is our, forgive me if I am misspeaking, but it is our intention to follow the direction of Mr. Hayes and Mr. Galt into the Tatters as soon as possible to prevent any kind of disaster therein of the object that was recovered from the mining station.
Vassret just goes, Are you joking? And she holds up her hand and just says,
I wish they were.
you want to follow Mr. Hayes into the tatters.
We have reason to believe that the thing that we brought on board poses a great danger both to him and to wherever they're taking it. So grave that if we don't go after them, well, let's just say bad things could happen, both to him and to others.
And
Maybe we should not speak with such metaphor. Their minds are being controlled, and they shall exact innumerable amount of damage to any people that they come across within the galaxy and perhaps beyond. And this is our singular opportunity to stop that from occurring.
What we saw in a small scale, people putting bloody handprints against walls. I don't know if you got that detail, but imagine that, but everywhere. So it's urgent.
And what exactly do you want me to do?
We simply make chase, and the ship is maintained as it always has been. It seems that the systems are pretty autonomous by themselves, and we shall do our best to protect the livelihoods of all people on board.
Hayes is in control of himself, so he'll thank us for saving him.
I'm not concerned about Mr. Hayes. I mean, then you can see that Vastret.
Beach kind of smiles at that.
Yeah, Vastret sort of gives her this look like, what? And she looks at him and says, I know, but a paycheck isn't worth the lives of my crew. And she turns back to the rest of you and to the two of you and just says, so, going into the tatters, even under circumstances that I understand, is at best a risky move. At worst, well, there's a reason that this region of space hasn't been explored. The safety of my crew is paramount to me. Can you guarantee that my crew will be safe if we do this?
I do not believe that we can guarantee anything. However,
we will protect them.
I have been aboard this ship, and all of the specialists that I have brought aboard upon this ship are committed to the safety of every single life and individual that is currently aboard this vessel. And we shall do our due diligence to make sure that that is maintained throughout the duration of this expedition.
We have a very, very, very incredible pilot who can also lend some aid.
You can see as she looks down and then looks up at Vastret, who looks at her and says, Captain, no. She says, all right, I'll assist under one condition. All non-essential personnel be evacuated to what shuttles we have left, and we send them on a jump to back towards the conduit.
I was going to suggest the same thing.
Yes, that seems the safest solution.
All right. Mr. Vastret, prepare all non-essential personnel for evacuation to the shuttles, and brief the Bellerophon's crew. Make sure that everyone is shipshape and ready. I want all security personnel prepared and armed, ready to lend a hand across the ship wherever it's needed, and I want the engineering team on standby. The whole engineering team, ma'am? The whole engineering team. All shifts. Make it happen. Yes, ma'am. And he turns to look at the two of you as he walks out and just starts, you can see as he's just sort of shaking his head as he's leaving, but he goes. The captain then just sort of leans back and opens a drawer on her desk and pulls out a bottle and a couple and 3 tumblers and just sets them on and just pours the 3 and pushes 2 across the table. Well, no inspiring words from me today, but I have a feeling we're gonna need this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And she takes down the shot, pours herself another one, takes it, and then puts them away, and then says,
Oh, CT doesn't take it. He just puts it back down.
yeah.
Peach politely takes it.
She stands and straightens her uniform and says, well, we have work to do. And just strides towards the door of the ready room.
I like her.
Cutting back to Taeyeon and Mason. I'll assume that Mason probably briefed Taeyeon on everything that he found.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Mason and Vix just do the thing.
Yeah, between Mason and Vix, just sort of like sharing this information.
Okay, so did you do the thing where you followed them through the door?
What did I say? He looks at Mason. He's like, "What did I say?"
Yeah, there's a camera. There's a camera.
Yeah. That.
Oh, okay. I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone's at the. No one's going to be looking. We can probably try and disable it from Hayes' office, right?
I mean,
if we really want to save our skin here, but I feel like we're probably past that point at this point.
look, the only thing I know is that whatever comes after, I don't think that Voxora should be in there for a moment longer than is absolutely necessary.
No, I agree.
I have a stasis pod, by the way, in case it's needed.
Well,
I feel like Peach might have something useful for this. I'm just joking.
You heard that voice too.
Yeah.
She gets in your head
we
like
can
that. It's really annoying. I don't know how that happens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a product of living with it. I thought it was just a product of living with her for, almost a century. But sometimes I just hear a little voice in the back of my head, and it's always hers somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, but
Peach is your conscience.
I know.
I don't know what to tell you, man. That's
Yeah.
oof.
What a fucked up sibling pair.
I love them. I love them so much.
They're great. I love them. Okay. No, that's a good point, Mason. You made a good point. The cameras would sort of picked you up on that.
At this point, I don't know what difference it makes at this point.
That's what I was gonna say.
At that
That's
time.
what I'm thinking.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, if we get caught, it's not exactly like Hayes is gonna be here to be mad about it.
Yeah.
We're also the professionals here.
We're the
Yeah,
specialists.
that.
We're the
that's-
specialists.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. That.
We know what we're doing. We'll walk with confidence because we are, and we'll go from there. Well, you will, Vix. You're the one that's going to be doing
Wait,
the walking.
why am
invisible-
I? Wait, I thought we were just gonna kick down the door and demand that we let the Voxora go. That's what I was talking about. I don't know any this whole sneaking in and whatever. I mean,
I think, as much as I hate to agree with Vix, I think at this point we can just demand this. We're not trying to hide this from Hayes anymore.
Oh,
Hayes is the one
good.
we're trying to get after.
Mason just goes like this and scratches the side of his head that's shorn, but it's growing in some stubble. I hate subtlety. Let's do that. Let's kick the door down.
yes.
Subtlety.
Fuck, I love
Lead the way.
Mason.
Don't worry, I'm not much of a subtle person either, so I know where you're coming from. So lead the way.
Yeah. So it's the three of you. I'd say probably Patch is coming with you. The
Yeah.
four of you make your way down to the lower levels, where there is now currently there not a security team, but just 2 security stationed at the door, And Vix just sort of looks at all of you and goes, "Lead with confidence, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Have they at this point gotten the like, hello ship, where some of you are leaving? Like,
Yeah, I think by the time you get down there,
Okay.
like, yes, there would have been
Okay.
like yeah.
use that to your advantage.
All right, so
So-
yeah, you approach the security.
So you probably heard about I guess what is going on right now. The people who are aren't exactly necessarily going to be leaving the shuttle.
One of them looks at you and she nods and says, "Yes, we heard, but we're under orders from Colonel Galt to guard this door. Orders came from Mr. Hayes himself."
I mean, above game, how much the whole shit doesn't know exactly about what's going on with.
Probably not.
Hayes
Yeah, no,
and-
probably not.
Okay, cool. We just want to make sure. Well, you must understand that we've been hired by Hayes himself as specialists, so we technically outrank you and also Galt. So could we please go through and make sure that everything's going on okay in there?
The two of them look at each other, and look back at you and say, "That might be, but this is still a highly sensitive area that is off limits to all personnel. Anyone who is unauthorized. I'm gonna have to check with Mr. Hayes."
You're more than welcome to. If you do make contact with him, please let me know, because we're
been
also
trying to.
We've been trying to.
They look at each other, and as they're just sort of like, she's reaching up for her comms, and Vix just goes, "Okay, here's the deal. Your boss, Hayes, yeah, he's gone. He left the ship. He's gone. So really right now there's not much of a chain of command, and the only part of it that's left that you should actually pay attention to is the part that we are a part of, which means basically get the hell out of our way." How about that? The two of them are looking and
That boy.
just, well, and
I'm sorry, I'm failing to understand what's wrong. Hayes isn't here. That's the reason why everyone's being sent away who's not necessarily on the ship. With Hayes gone, we're next in chain of command, and we need to be able to make sure that we know what's going on behind here.
Same thing. But
I'm gonna have
nicer.
I'm gonna have Taeyeon roll on this one. This is gonna be
Yeah,
this is gonna be
for this.
intellect difficulty. I'm gonna say the difficulty on this is 4.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I'm
Oh.
losing my mind right now. This is so funny.
Yeah.
And I'll say
You guys indoors.
I'm gonna say
like,
the right now the you'll get an asset from Vix right now.
Okay.
Just from what
Um,
Vix just said, so it's down to a difficulty 3.
I use my 3 level of effort. Does my power shifting intelligence work for this?
I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah. I don't want to use points for this.
No, do it. Do it.
I am. Nah, 6 is good enough. I'm gonna roll. I'm
Alright,
gonna tempt fate.
You just need a 6 or better.
That's also not this show.
7.
Oh.
The two of them look at each other, and then as they're sort of looking at you, one of them looks like the other one looks like he's about to protest, but then she kind of cuts across him and says, "Okay, fine, but yeah, just if Mr. Hayes has a problem with this, ends up having a problem with this, I am gonna have to report you."
You're
Sucks.
more than welcome to. But I promise you he won't.
She nods and then turns around and takes a access card and just sort of swipes it across the locking mechanism, which you can see flashes green, and the door just opens into the robotics lab that that the others described. And
We walk in.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Do they follow us in, or do they let us go in ourselves?
As you kind of turn to see what they're doing, you can see that both of them are just leaving. They're both just walking away. They're just leaving. And like they're not like leaving. It looks like they just sort of moved out of the way, basically. Like they're they kind of moved off a bit. So as you look around, you can see that you are indeed inside of a robotics lab. You can see exactly what the others saw on the camera feed. The Voxora sort of laid out, partially dissected on the work table, and the same Anzalonian man that you saw earlier, goggles down, who is currently in the process of removing one of the wires that is attached to one of the apparatuses in the room. As he just sort of looks up and says, "I don't think you're supposed to be in here.
No, we absolutely are. You probably heard the announcement of how everyone's being evacuated. We need to make sure that our Voxora friend here is going to be taken care of. So we're going to be doing the transporting of them.
Well, nobody told me anything. I mean, I have to prepare the subject for being moved. This is, I mean, I have to.
How long will that take you?
Well, I mean, I guess only. Well, how long do we have? I mean,
not much time. So as fast as you can would be great.
Okay, I suppose I can do a. I suppose I can. You'll have to give me a moment, because if I don't do this properly, then I could fry I could fry the data circuits in here. So just give me a second. And you see as he starts going around very meticulously, going between computers and then coming back, removing wires, going back, computers, and then just a very sort of painstaking process that takes him in total probably about 15 minutes. As he goes through.
Can I tell if this Voxora is still alive?
I'm gonna say
in pain. I think we agreed that they're most likely alive,
Right.
because that's the only way for it to keep the information.
Yeah.
But are they hurting?
The thing is, it's kind of unclear as to Voxora probably do experience pain and discomfort and those sorts of other sensations, but it's probably different than the way an organic being would experience them. You, with no knowledge of how exactly Voxora work, have no way to tell that just by looking. The only real way for you to determine that would be to actually talk to the Voxora, and at the moment that looks like it's going to be pretty impossible.
I know I'm not there, but as an audience member to this scene, does this person react at all to Patch being there?
Yeah.
Another Voxora?
You know what though? Yeah, that's the thing. Since you've come in, after the initial shock of people who weren't supposed to be here being here, he kind of is glancing at Patch a bit. And you can you don't have to be Bina to tell that he's a little bit uncomfortable. It's he's looking at Patch and
I would hope so.
Yeah, just little quick surreptitious glances at Patch from time to time. In particular when he removes wire attachments from the Voxora. And as he finishes, says, "Okay, I think that should be everything." And says, "I think the subject is ready for transport." Vix just goes, great. And then and then you watch as like a bright flash as a light blast comes from Vix's hand, hits the Anzalonian directly in the chest, throws him up into the wall, and he comes crashing down, just like fully unconscious.
Nice.
Fuck yeah. Dude, what the-
He deserved
I
it.
guess-
Vix just sort of
I guess you did say that subtlety wasn't your thing.
Vix just sort of
Okay.
looks at the rest of you and says, "Oh, sorry. Did you want to do that?"
No, it's fine.
A little bit,
Good.
a little bit, but it's all right. You got it.
And with that, you're able to, like, as you're looking closely at the like work table, you realize it's not actually like an actual full work table. What it looks like is it can be sort of like with just like a flip of a couple of levers on it, the whole mechanism can sort of turn to basically be like almost like kind of like a dolly, basically, that can be moved. And so you can basically transport, like, move the Voxora without ever, like, without removing them from the slab itself, which is good because you're not entirely sure that it'd be very uncomfortable to try to move this Voxora by yourselves. It would be hard.
Yeah. I think as he grabs the like dolly, he's like, I've been able to didn't think past this point.
Vix
Are we
frowned.
gonna get them in a shuttle? Or we're gonna hide them somewhere else so we can make sure they're okay, see if they can recoup.
Ah, right. This is probably why having a plan is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna go into comms. Hey, we
We could go back to our
rescued
Our
the
room.
Voxora.
Oh,
What
that's
do
awesome.
we do next?
Maybe
Can they-
our quarters or something.
Can they be moved?
Yes, yeah, they're on a dolly. I can also probably teleport them, so we're not
Our
seen in
quarters
hallways.
seem best, right?
Yeah, for now until we
I
can make sure
likewise
they're okay.
request that.
Okay, and I'm gonna place a hand on the Voxora and obviously the dolly, and then have a hand on Mason. Tell Vix to put a hand on my shoulder, and I'm gonna teleport.
Yeah.
Us to.
Someone should walk out of the room, or you're just gonna. Just...
I'll
no,
walk out. I'll-
everybody teleport.
Okay.
Okay,
Mason
if
and Patch.
Mason says he wants to walk out.
Mason and Patch
Okay.
will, like, walk out of the room.
And yeah,
Yeah.
they'll teleport out.
Yeah. You
The guards are like,
yeah,
what the
you
fuck?
exit the room, and the like one of the guards is like looking like she's gonna go and like look, because there was just sort of a bright flash from inside the room and a crash of equipment. And as
Oh, yeah.
as Mason and Patch walk out of the room, sort of like bumping into them basically, and she looks up, she says, "Is everything okay in there? I mean,
Just another day at the office. Patch?
No need to concern yourselves with anything that may or may not have taken place inside that room.
What they said.
We are so bad.
Guys!
the
I think this might have not have been the correct infiltration team.
No.
Yeah, no one-
It
no one-
wasn't.
Well,
Settle.
the
but isn't it just
the
amazing?
two guards look
Whatever.
at each other.
What are they gonna
It was
do?
beautiful. It was
Like, the two
perfect.
guards look at each other, and one of them, like,
Just kiss.
the one of the guards, like, looks like he's gonna move, like, as you walk past them, one of them looks like he's gonna go look, and she puts her hand on his shoulder and just, it's not worth it.
Listen, we're not the talkers of the crew. We're literally not the talk.
Definitely not for deception.
Oh god.
All right, we'll go ahead and cut to a little while later, as all of you basically, like, Bina, you would have would you have stayed kind of on, like, flight deck, or would you have gone elsewhere?
I think she probably would have just tried to brainstorm where she was useful, because that was where she was useful at that point. You know, whatever. And then we're waiting for people to evacuate. I don't know. I think she's just waiting to be, like, tagged in, like,
Yeah.
like put me in, coach. Like, she doesn't. She's just waiting for
Cool.
someone to require her help with us. So I think she might just be chilling, trying to, like, poke at stuff to see if anything else could have been useful. If there's, like, if she can find any sort of connection that might help us, like, with this, from the Bellerophon to this shuttlecraft. Once we're in the tatters, like, just kind of, like, poking around at stuff, just waiting for something to be useful anywhere.
Yeah. So you as you're doing that, Alma is just sort of watching, helping out wherever she feels like she can. But after a moment, after a while of just sort of like hearing the updates from people, from the other crew members,
They're just like frowning and putzing.
yeah, Alma just looks at you and she says, "I know that face."
What you're talking about?
Oh, so you don't you aren't feeling extremely anxious because you don't know what to do with yourself right now.
Are you sure you're not the empath? Because that was pretty spot on.
I've just had a lot of time to watch you.
I don't know what to do right now. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, I get it. I wish I had some answer for you, but I honestly am kind of feeling the same way. I mean, without Awakener, I feel like
Right? I know. Me too. And I don't even have the same connection you do.
it's like it's like a part of my body is missing.
Yeah. Can't even imagine.
I mean, not really, but it's
But yeah, no, yeah, really. Yeah, really.
yeah, okay. It's
It can be yeah, really.
okay. Yes, then I don't know. You know what's weird though? In spite of right now not really knowing what my job is or what I need to be doing, not having Awakener to fly or maintain or she smiles at you and just says, "For the first time in months, months since in the couple months since I've been back, kind of feels like it did before."
Everybody running around
Yeah, that.
trying to keep up with whatever the hell is going on because everything. Why is everything mayhem all the time with us? Do we attract it?
I think so. I think that's safe to assume at this point.
Mayhem Magnet.
But it's not
That sounds like a fun band name.
it's not just that though. I mean, you're different. I mean, you've been different ever since the race. You've been more like, I don't know, more like you.
Guess getting in touch with your roots will do wonders for your complexion. I think she can make the joke. Like, yeah. I do. I feel a little brighter. It was fun. I haven't done that in a long time. Even though I cheated a little bit. We needed to, though.
Yeah. Well,
It
and
was a little cheat. Just a little cheat. Just a little bit.
well, all things considered, I'll say Mason told me that he found somebody else, one of the other racers was trying to cheat too. So I think it was yeah, they had drones setting up a net. Can you believe that?
Where's the integrity? Obviously not in an illegal conduit race, but like, I was gonna say there used to be, but I don't think there's ever been. But you know what?
I think
I don't feel bad anymore.
I think you're off the hook.
I still do. I still feel a little
I
bit
know.
bad. But it was for the greater good, so it's fine. Probably.
Mhm. You don't believe a word of that.
No. That kid should have won. It would have been really good for them. I want to race them again and I want them to beat me, but like for real.
Well,
I'll try to beat them, but I want them to beat me.
well, maybe one day, when this is all over, we can find them, and you can challenge them to a one-on-one.
Do I
I
have the
don't-
authority to do that as the winner? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how any of this works, so that that's
Probably not. Probably not. Maybe I'll just like exist in their spheres, and then maybe we'll end up right. Maybe I can goad them into wanting a rematch from me. It'll be good.
Yeah.
I have some ideas for upgrades on Euphoria, so can't be the last time I race.
Yeah.
I won't use my brain next time though. I'll use my brain, but I won't use my brain on other people's brains.
You can sort of feel from Alma that there's like a rise in like anxiety from her. Just like very
like,
sort of steadily happening, and she's like, you can tell that she's like nodding, but she hasn't been listening to you for a couple minutes, for like about a minute or so, as she's just like she's just like nodding, and then looks at you and says, I wanted to talk to you, because at that point, Bina, you get a message on your comms, and Alma goes, no, get it. It's probably important.
Okay. I'll pull it up.
Yeah. You can see the captain's face as it sort of comes up. She says,
Captain.
Bina Oba, yes?
Yes.
I've been told that you are something of a prodigy at the helm of a ship.
I don't know if I'd say that, but I am pretty good if I do say so myself. Do you need me on the bridge?
I have a bunch of very qualified helmspersons, but none of them are prepared for anything remotely like what we're going to. And
you don't fly into the tatters. You just don't. But like, I understand. We do have to. I'm very sorry, Captain.
I would feel a lot better if, somebody with expertise in. Let's just say I watched your race, and.
That's right. You were there too. That's right. Okay.
I would feel a lot better, as would I think many of my my helm crew, if you would join us on the bridge for this.
Can I bring my own co-pilot, sir?
I don't see why not.
Excellent. And I look over at
She just goes,
Alma is my co-pilot.
Okay. Ready?
yes, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. We'll be up in a minute.
Okay, you can feel from Alma the anxiety has sort of faded, but being replaced by now a mixture of disappointment and relief. And
oh, poor Alma. Just
she says, let's show them what you can do.
Let's do this. And she'll put out two of her arms as like a obnoxious like link arms with me gesture.
Yeah.
Like
Alma, like you can see she smiles and like takes your arm, and you can feel just like a little tinge of embarrassment, but
let's do this, co-pilot. And she'll start like running really fast.
Yep.
To be obnoxious, she would not admit it, but she's really excited to fly this gigantic, gaudy ship.
Yeah. We'll cut to a little while later. I'd say probably about an hour later. All non-essential personnel, like the mostly research crew, like the research teams, have been evacuated to some of the long-range shuttles, and the rest of you, kind of gathered on the bridge, are watching as those shuttles begin departing, jumping one by one into FTL, making for the nearest conduit. After a few moments, the last shuttle disappears, and the first mate, Vassret, turns, says, "That was the last of them, Captain." And she settles herself in her seat, and says, "Very well."
Wait, hold. Just a quick question. I didn't see anyone from the engineering team getting on any of the shuttles.
We'll need all the engineers. We're all hands on deck for engineering crew. Who knows what? There's the only thing that we'll have to navigate by in the tatters is the ship's sensors. there's bound to be all kinds of hazards that we won't see coming until the very end, and I'm not confident in our ability to avoid all of them. So it's all hands on deck for engineering crew. All engineering crew are officially designated essential personnel.
Bina makes eye contact with Taeyeon.
Taeyeon just like tries to keep a straight face and just nods, just stays quiet.
Are you near me at all, do you think?
Probably, yeah.
She'll put one, like, surreptitiously will put one hand back behind the seat to kind of, like, give you, like, a double squeeze on one of your hands. Like, I got you.
All right. If preparations are ready, Mr. Vasseret? Yes, Captain. All stations reporting in ready. All hands reporting in. She nods and stands back and sits back in her seat. She says, "Very well. Miss Oba, take us in."
Away we go, and she'll push us forward.
And as the Bellerophon with its skeleton crew jumps into FTL, you make for the Tatters, an area of dark space within the galaxy that is largely deemed impassable by the rest of the galaxy to chase down Calvin Hayes, the artifact, and whatever lies beyond. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh
Holy
my
shit.
god.
Holy shit! Wow.
Damn it. Oh my god.
I love how we planned for an hour and then immediately
All of
uploaded
it went off.
because he did it to himself. We
Yeah.
didn't have to fake it with them.
Who could have predicted that? We kind of did, but we didn't at the same time.
I had so many things I wanted to say to that damn man, and then he left. Ugh.
Oh, that was amazing.
Can't even make a meeting.
We're flying into the Tatters, you guys.
We're flying into the Tatters with my mom.
The whole family is
Flying
coming.
into the Tatters with my mom, hit single by Mayhem.
Oh, good.
God.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us this episode.
So much happened and we ended pretty much on time. How is that
I
possible?
don't know.
Right.
I don't
So
know anymore.
tight.
I've given up. I have fully given up on like trying to understand or in any way influence the amount of time that one of these episodes takes. I have fully given up on that.
It was such a full episode and it was like,
Right.
jeez. Anyway, sorry.
I don't know is the answer to that question.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Before we go, gonna give some quick reminders about this week. This Friday on Ramblemancy, we'll be joined by Akemi or Ninja Penguin to talk about engaging with TTRPGs, a topic that we've definitely had before, but never with Akemi as a guest. So we can look forward to hearing her insights on how to do that, and maybe tread over some old ground, maybe retread some old ground. We'll see if there's any new insights that have come up. And then of course on Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, I will begin my Mass Effect Legendary Edition
I'm
playthrough.
so excited.
And we'll see how that goes. We haven't, behind the scenes, here's a little peek behind the curtain, we haven't actually decided yet who, if anyone, is going to be joining me to like hang out with me while I do that one this week. So stay tuned, and we'll tell you at some point, or it'll just be a surprise when you come in. So yeah, we'll see you then. Freeman, you want to give our little spiel, since we almost never end on time and don't ever have time for it.
End of stream announcements, which I haven't done in a while because of what Lucas just said. Anyway, so ways to support the channel: you like and subscribe on Twitch, get some really cool emotes. You get some cool emotes drawn by Cole, who you can find here on Tuesdays for Into Deep. You can find them on Twitter, Cole Morale, and also other cool emotes by Leah, that geeky artist, on Twitter. And other ways get on the Patreon. Become a patron. We have our tabletop tool chest, our bi-weekly little tidbits of story that we create and then we give to you to make your own story, like little characters or
Cool shit.
locations. Cool shit. Thank you. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I also have character
Technical
journals
term,
and world builders tier, which happens once a month. And there was another thing. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm totally forgetting what's on the Patreon.
But say Media Club.
Oh yeah, we have our monthly recommendation for Media Club too. So there's that. Yeah. Also, another way to support us that's not as long-term, it's a little short-term way, is you can check out our coffee. Meet our short-term goals such as art, music, emotes, things that make us look dope. And yeah, also get on the Discord. Most importantly, it's the first place you're going to see what we're up to. You can go to the channels and discuss with us things in the show and yell at us and get your good morning and good zone. It's a good place to hang out. So yeah.
Also, check out the our library of actually now all of our content on YouTube. It used to just be Infinite Horizon, but now everything's on there. It's all on there.
Yeah, you're right. It's all on there now.
So
Gotta watch it all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you
That's
can
right.
you can do that. Also,
I was like, I want to ask Lucas a very vague question about. There's a thing. Are we allowed to announce it yet?
I'm not sure which
That is
thing you're
we've
talking about.
Scheduled.
Oh,
But I don't know if we're
I mean,
announcing
yeah,
it
we,
yet.
we might as well because it is happening this month. So like we're in the same
Yeah.
month now. So
I just didn't know
but
if we were waiting or what.
I'll toss it to you in a second. But I also want to say because
Okay,
we don't
that's fine.
talk
I just
about
wanted to ask.
it enough. But Infinite Horizon is on podcast, and you can listen to all of it on podcast, mostly on time. Because I have been falling behind on lots of things, and the podcast is one of them. But it's all current right now, except for this episode. But yes, so
That would be impressive.
that would
if
be
this episode
wild,
Was
like-
up already,
Right?
we were
It
still
would
live.
be.
Before we even
Wow.
did it,
I-
like we
Like-
predicted everything.
Like, do you have a clone?
This is pre-recorded, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It is a pre-recorded, by the way. Yes, we see you, Rose. Even though it's pre-recorded, we can see
Yeah.
you saying, "Come to Discord." We yell at Lucas for cramping his
It
armor. This is-
turns out that Drac
just
is
predicted you'll
actually
say this.
Taeon in real life, has Taeon's powers and can see through time, but only Twitch chat.
Knows what you're
Only
gonna say
Twitch
in
chat.
Yeah.
You're probably wondering how I know what you're gonna say in chat. I'm looking at the document. It's like probably blink. The blink.
Yeah.
It's just blink. Like, I'm reading the transcription of what you said while you're watching this about 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
Cursed power.
But yeah, so
True.
that's I think that's all of that stuff. Caitlin, Caitlin and Olivia, if you want to announce your this thing.
So that cool thing you unlocked that I think is extremely fun and cool from our charity event, which is potentially several hours of me and Olivia talking about Twilight live on stream, is happening this month.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be chaos. We're gonna talk about a lot of different things: movies, books, theories, our
Famous Lash.
opinions.
No, it's gonna be on Thursday, June 17th at 6 p.m. So just be there. Like it's gonna be extremely fun. And I've mentioned it before, but probably a solid 70% of the texts that me and Olivia exchange are about Twilight or Twilight related content.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
a lot. It's a heavy
just-
percentage.
to let us talk about this out loud with all of you is gonna be
Oh, I'm
so
so
much. Even if you
jazzed.
don't know shit about Twilight, I promise we will do our best to entertain you. Like,
Yeah.
it's very soon. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We get yes, just over 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's on the 17th.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Yeah. Anybody else have stuff that they want to announce, remind people about?
Yes. Yes. So you can find me on Twitter, obviously. I'm streaming all over the place, but the thing I'm really excited about is our miniseries called Midsummer Mysteries, which is a Clockwork Dominion campaign. And we're going to be having the fourth episode. 5th episode. Oh no, wait, it's closer to the end than I thought. We're gonna have the 5th episode of the 6-episode series next week. No, this week. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. This week on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We had a really last session was really, really fucking good. I really recommend you watch it. It's on Table Story on Twitch. Table Story also on YouTube. We're posting those on the YouTube channel as well. Also, we're going to be teaming up with Resonim on the 12th of June for a charity relay. We're going to be bouncing between our 2 channels. We played a teacher RPG and a bunch of board games made by people of color as we raise money for Annie Diverse Games. We've got some really fun guests coming in. We've got a bunch of the creators of the board games going to be playing. We've got Jude, Mermaid Royal on Twitter, and J-Rock the God, J-Rock. He's going to be playing in the Teach RPG. We're going to be playing Tidebreaker, which is a game which hasn't hit Kickstarter yet. So we're going to be like one of the first people to play it on stream. It's a superhero game, a superhero Teach RPG. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So please come and watch. If you follow Resonim, you can see their announcement. That's going to be from 2 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be bouncing between streams. We're going to be rating each other and stuff like that. So please come and watch. If you can't donate, that's fine. Just retweet and share it. Hopefully that retweet will attract someone who can donate. So honestly, every little helps, even just if it's just exposure. So thank you, and that's it from me. Everything else I'm up to, you'll find out eventually just by following us.
If you're not following Drac on
Guys, I'm
Twitter,
not
what are
even
you
Yeah,
doing?
I mean,
Yeah.
Mine's just Q&A, PowerPlay Q&A, 5 p.m. Pacific on Sunday. And then next week, the season starts.
yeah.
That's all I got.
All right.
Buy Olivia's book.
Buy Olivia's book.
And
Follow
follow
Remy
Remy
on Twitter.
And follow me.
Thanks,
And happy
guys.
Pride.
Happy Pride.
Pride.
It
Pride.
ends
You
where
want
it
a gay
began.
book?
I'm pretty sure that is the first announcement I made this
circle.
whole, like the first thing I said this whole stream, which was Happy Pride.
Yep.
So
Also easily mistaken for Purge. Nobody
yeah.
did this
nobody.
here. I have an
yeah.
alibi.
No, you should.
Anyway.
Bonus. You should get this. Is so. You should go via the Discord because there's a new logo and it's got a rainbow. on it
Yes.
for
Fun
Pride.
story about the
It
logo.
looks so
Fun
cool.
story about the logo. Caitlin and I were in writer's room today, and Caitlin was like, "Hey, what do you think about like having like a pride icon for Rule of Lore?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And she's like, "Great, because it's like halfway done right now. Here you go." And
It was like 95% done. Like, it was like,
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's so good. I love it.
Like I asked, but it's made already.
Yeah.
The thing is we were talking and I had the thought about doing it while we were talking. And I was like, oh, I'll ask him, but we were talking about other things. And then by the time I like asked about it, I was like done with it.
And then, if anybody had been watching the Discord server this afternoon, you would, yeah, it changed like 6 times because Caitlin kept sending me updates to it, and yeah.
It's like I don't like that. Try this one. It looks bad small.
So yeah, so anybody who happened to have been watching the Discord this afternoon got a fun show.
A little rainbow light
Yeah,
show.
little-
Rainbow is hard to design with, you guys. I love a rainbow, but God.
Yeah.
Anyways, happy
Yeah.
Pride. Go
Yeah,
get
I
in the
can
Discord just to see what I made today.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for coming. We will see you hopefully on Friday for Ramblemancy, but if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.